When I think of Madison Harnish, I'm reminded of the colloquialism, a little knowledge is a dangerous thing.
It's my hot body, I'll do what I want.
It's showtime.
Gentlemen, ladies, and NBs, we present to you the first feature-length xenophobious reaction video. But it's so much more than reaction, isn't it? Before the analysis, here are the guidelines I used in order to make this video happen. The rules of reaction, not to be confused with a Bret Easton Ellis novel of a similar name. Any original H3H3 content will be trimmed with users directed to the original video source. Footage featuring Madison or her voice remains uncut unless otherwise specified, but may be sped up for time. Each cited source will be given a single chance at veracity and, if unreliable, will not be treated as evidence. Madison's Google Docs script is its own video and will not be examined or referred to in this one. Last but not least, viewers of this video will like and subscribe. You have to now. It's a rule. Since I've only known the H3 podcast and only that for maybe 3 whole years now, I don't know a lot of the backstory, so maybe Madison can teach me something. No, I don't believe me either.
Ethan saying Nick.
Wow, that is so impressive. The CGI really makes me feel like this video is professional. Is that what I'm supposed to take away?
You either die a hero,
You either die a hero,
or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
You tune in to watch your favorite podcast. It's a casual stream where it feels like friends who are hanging out with you, talking about the funny things happening online.
Then why are you talking about it like it's a report on true crime?
But suddenly, things start changing.
But at the end of the day, I don't care. I'm crazier than you are by a lot. I'm fucking insane. I don't care.
Does she not know it's a comedy podcast? Or does she not understand comedy itself?
The host of the podcast starts acting out of character, focusing on dark corners of society.
What's your definition of a dark corner? All of mine are inappropriate for YouTube.
Suddenly, the host thinks that everyone is against them.
Are you really saying that a Jewish man has a persecution complex?
Even you, the viewer.
Holy crap, is this video about us? It can't be. Barbie's Jewish too.
What was supposed to be your comfort podcast, the place you go after a long day, the place you went to relax, turned into a toxic war zone. It's war zone! Where the host is even launching campaigns against other people that you enjoy watching.
Now I know you can't be talking about Ethan Klein. He doesn't launch campaigns against other people. He gets them launched against him. Look, here's one we're looking at right now.
You feel like you need to pick a side.
I picked the side that doesn't support terrorism or genocide. The anti-genocide. Seriously, Jenna Darabont sucks.
The world is getting darker and darker every day.
See what I mean about filler? Some of it doesn't even have voiceover.
Swallowing up your favorite content creator. And before you know it, you no longer recognize them.
Oh, hi there. It's me, your old friend, Ethan Klein.
That's a computer animation. That's not really Ethan. Of course he looks different.
If this story's familiar to you, you may be a former fan of the H3 podcast.
That doesn't match my experience with the H3 podcast, but it does match my experience with James Corden.
Ethan Klein began creating content in 2011 in Israel alongside his wife, Ela Klein, then girlfriend.
Dagobah syntax. Alongside his wife, then girlfriend, Ela Klein. And this photo isn't from them because it has their dog Shredder in it, and Shredder's all-American.
The all-American angel.
By 2015, the H3H3 Productions channel exploded, hitting 1 million subscribers by 2016.
Then why mention 2015 at all?
You may have heard that we hit 1 million!
I guess this video was filmed before Ethan hit puberty? Second puberty? I hear that happens these days.
That same year, the H3 podcast was born.
Excess adjective. You don't need the word same.
With virtually equal success. But by 2025, most of the H3 fans have abandoned them.
Which fans? Fans of H3H3 Productions or fans of the H3 podcast? Those are two separate things with different audiences.
With only a small group of very fervent supporters left behind.
I know I'm just a little baby channel, but hundreds of thousands to millions of views seems like a lot to me.
I don't understand what's going on because it's November, which is usually your highest revenue month. And this was like our lowest revenue month of the year.
That's right, folks. This low resolution out of context clip was brought to you by the H3 Snark subreddit, an unbiased source of information.
Why did this happen?
Why did what happen? You just made up a bunch of stuff that doesn't make sense.
The very machine or monster that Ethan built.
It's not a monster. There's nothing monstrous about this. You're just trying to imitate Hassan Piker's hyperbole.
Off of commenting on the flaws of other creators, began to eat him alive.
I think I'm realizing why I'm finding this so confusing. Madison isn't differentiating between the content created on H3 Productions and the content created on the H3 podcast. She thinks they're the same, I guess?
A Frankenstein of his own making.
Wow, you guys, we found the only person left in the world who still refers to the monster or creature as Frankenstein instead of recognizing that Frankenstein's the doctor.
That he thought he controlled, but began to control him.
None of this is fact. It's all insinuation.
Oh, here it is. He took the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde potion. He's turning into the goblin.
The person who clipped this is pretending they don't understand comedic intent. And don't worry, from now on, if I include one of her clips, I will no longer be zooming into the corner unless it's a new biased source.
I'm the fucking Green Goblin, you know? It's over.
The only thing you've demonstrated here is that a comedian has a long-running joke.
Hello friends and internet acquaintances, welcome or welcome back to my channel.
Am I welcome? I'm not here for enjoyment. I'm here to tear you a new one.
I would say the usual of subscribe for another deep dive and like this video if you like it, but honestly, today's video is very different from the usual.
Honestly, I don't think you know what honestly means, and I don't think you know how to be it. This video is exactly like your other videos. It's a takedown piece. That's what you do.
A huge stance I have is always being empathetic to everyone.
How come Ethan and Gila Klein don't count as part of everyone? Are you dehumanizing them this early in the video?
Viewing all sides.
Really? Parts of this video were informed by credible sources?
Understanding the story in its entirety.
Madison, you do not have the ability to be any of the three things you just claimed to be.
Ethan has a long history online, and I'm sure I won't be able to fully do that justice, but
everyone I know has a big butt.
I'm going to try my best in this video.
You trying your best doesn't even meet me at my worst.
To understand the situation completely and what took place.
Why, yes, that was her bad splicing. And also, yes, she just said the same thing twice, but in different words.
And empathize with all parties involved as much as possible.
As much as possible. Insinuating that she's going to describe actions that are so heinous, it's impossible to empathize with the person who committed them.
So many other influencers that Ethan has run into and has had controversies with have had their own set of controversies.
Is that QT Cinderella's high school yearbook photo?
Especially lately, which has made this video particularly anxiety-inducing, as I do not want to make it look like I am siding with any influencer over another.
This image being on screen tells me that you're worried about insulting Hassan and Blair, but definitely not worried about Ethan.
Or in this video, I'll empathize with an influencer, as I always tried to do, and boom, literally the next day, they have a major controversy.
Ugh. By trying to cover your ass, you're exposing it. You've just shown me that you're going to focus on the breakup of Leftovers, taking Hassan Piker's side, and chestnuts. Something Ethan Klein very successfully apologized for.
There's lost broken on an open fire.
Even though other influencers' controversies
are not
the focus of this video, I feel the need to touch on those briefly so this video doesn't appear one-sided.
She included 2-minute sections each about Hassan Piker hating Black people and QT Cinderella refusing to cut off family members who had differing views on the world.
I'm just trying to do my best here.
I guess your best wasn't good enough.
I did not expect so many influencers to have so many controversies.
Your whole channel is influencer controversies.
In the course of the few weeks that I put together this video.
Oh, it's okay, guys. They were only recently in controversies. They don't have like a history of controversial actions and decisions at all. Oh my God. God.
And I really want to make it clear that I do not side with or stand any influencer or public figure, especially lately, with everyone being overall disappointing.
Yes, you are.
I think that Ethan Klein is a reflection of a lot of what many of us are feeling in society.
Are you dehumanizing him again already? Calling him a reflection of societal misery? He's not a mirror. He's a human being.
Fear, paranoia, division.
Wow, and now you've reduced a human being to a series of negative attributes, and not much of a series. You've only listed 3. I think you think that's what the rule of 3 is, don't you?
While I don't want to add to that,
well, we can't always get what we want, and if you really wanted that, you shouldn't have tried to do this in the first place.
I want to speak to it. I feel like I would be doing myself a disservice
by publishing this video at all. And it's not supposed to be about you. It's supposed to be about the subject or the society. But you somehow always make it about yourself, don't you?
if I ignored what's happening currently.
What is happening currently?
That being said, after this video, I'm planning to start a new series on my channel called Internet Archives.
This is a commercial. Scrubbing.
I also want to provide the disclaimer that any discussion that brings up anti-Semitism will not be tolerated in this video.
Wow, okay, let's hear that again.
I also want to provide the disclaimer.
If you want to provide it, why are you shaking your head no?
That any discussion.
By discussion, do you mean that you're choosing not to include something in the video, or you won't have any footage of examples of the thing in the video?
That brings up anti-Semitism.
You mean anti-Semitism? It's not a dirty word unless you have certain feelings about Semitic labeled peoples.
Will not be tolerated in this video.
What it sounds like you're saying is that you're going to ignore any evidence of real-world anti-Semitism in order to avoid having it in your video.
I do not believe that any group of people should be hated or vilified.
Well, by not believing in it, you're not making it untrue. People are still going to hate and vilify people whether you believe in it or not.
That being said...
Wait, you're already going back on the morals you just stated you don't actually have but you would like to believe in?
I also believe that finding justice should never be through killing others.
Are you accusing Ethan Klein of murder?
It's a cruel world, and to cause more harm is to continue the cruelty.
That wasn't a denial.
I also want to say I'm not an expert in Palestine and Israel and the conflict happening there.
Oh, no, wait, I'm still confused. Do you think Ethan Klein is killing Palestinians?
That's been happening since Israel's inception, it seems.
You can't get away with an historical untruth by saying it seems. Palestinians were kicked around and off their lands before the inception of Israel. Jeez.
Well, I'll be speaking on that issue because it relates to later on Ethan's career.
Does it? I don't see how.
I also want to recommend these podcasts that I think go into the history and political context much better than I ever could.
No, Madison, I can't do your homework for you. You're the one who's supposed to do the research if it's pertinent to your subject.
My favorite podcast to listen to is the Throughline podcast by NPR. They've done many podcasts on this issue.
I'm pretty sure you mean episodes, and that's interesting because you should know more if it's your favorite podcast. Like, what's in these episodes?
Some of my favorites is the podcast on settlements.
Some of my favorites is
the podcast on the history of Hamas and the podcast on Palestine. I think much of these podcasts give a fairly well-rounded but in-depth approach that shows the historical context and how we arrived at this point.
Yeah, but you believe a lot of very silly things. If this is your favorite podcast and you've listened to and recommend these episodes, why are you still saying things like, it seems violence against Palestinians happened with the inception of Israel?
Also, I'm terrified to make this video.
You keep repeating that, but the video is still happening in front of me, so you can't be that scared.
Because of all of the reports that Ethan has been doing.
What does that mean? Reports Ethan has been doing? Has he been writing research reports on people? Is he calling your parents to complain? What are you talking about?
Even some of the weirdly veiled threats I've been receiving through Instagram DMs and comments from some supporters of Ethan.
Let's see them.
Ethan filing false reports against creators who critique him.
I've figured it out. She's talking about reports to YouTube about content. And I think he's only reported Noah Samson for saying he supports genocide. Again, Jenna sucks.
I'm proudly reporting this guy for, let's see.
Yeah, we're not watching this. Not only is it warped beyond recognition, but it's lost all context and meaning. I bet you don't even know who it's about.
So I also want to make very clear I'm not making this video in any hateful manner.
Well, folks, it turns out she was lying. Can you believe that?
But to simply document how a sort of downward spiral can occur.
Then watch your back catalog. But not in reverse. Watch it from the first one because they keep getting worse. It's almost like a curse. Maybe I should call a nurse. But let's continue this video first.
And how, in my opinion...
No, I don't think it is your opinion. I think somebody gave you this opinion fully formed.
Ethan's downfall isn't the result of a mass cancellation. How this is actually Ethan's own undoing.
That's why you won't include any anti-Semitism, because it would prove that he's right about being targeted and harassed.
Or, as many have wondered...
No, they haven't. There aren't many people wondering whatever it is you're about to say.
Whether Ethan was the same person the entire time and one day decided to go mask off.
No, he went mask on. I never watched Frenemies, but I've seen clips.
As Ethan Klein seems to live life by one very hypocritical rule.
What do you mean seems to? Why is everything seeming?
Rules for thee, but not for me.
Well, at least this one's been around longer than that Harvey Dent quote you started with. You know he's not a real person, right?
This Redditor describes the downfall of the Kleins.
Hey, look, you guys, she's quoting an article that's quoting Reddit. Wow, that's like 2 whole degrees of separation from a biased source.
The shortest answer I can give you is that they got wealthy and it enabled their worst behaviors, and the podcast gave them more opportunities to broadcast them. In some ways, the content improved, but the people behind it did not, and the laziness and greed at the heart of the production have turned their brand into a stagnant mess that deteriorates daily. As Ethan Klein became green with envy.
I already told you, that was a costume.
Over all of his perceived enemies who were thriving in the wake of his absence.
What absence? Did he disappear for a while like Agatha Christie?
He was unable to look inward and do any self-reflection.
Reflect on what? You've shown me nothing that he's actually done. Even the things that you think you've shown me have been inaccurate.
To grow himself as a person.
From what I can tell, Ethan did a whole lot of growing between like 2018 and 2023, 2024-ish.
He was too focused on looking outward.
Says who? Where did you get that?
Rules for thee, but not for me.
I'm beginning to think that's your ethos and not something you're trying to attribute to Ethan Klein.
How could someone who was once so well regarded fall so hard?
You're asking a nonsense question because it hasn't happened. The situation you just described doesn't exist in reality. You've made it up.
Ethan was studying English literature at the University of California, and suddenly he began experiencing intense waves of crushing anxiety.
What sudden intense waves of crushing anxiety? That's not what the text you just read from says. It says he experienced generalized anxiety disorder.
Problem was like circular thinking. I could not stop thinking. And if it was one thing that was bothering me, something that so doesn't matter, I would obsess over. Like I couldn't stop thinking about it. I couldn't help myself.
Ethan also has Tourette's. Tourette's is a neurodevelopmental disorder.
Why are you speaking like this? You're speaking as though Tourette's is some sort of psychiatric condition. That's not what neurodevelopmental disorder means.
It's characterized by repetitive, involuntary, sudden movements, or vocalizations, which are called tics.
If you have to use 3 separate takes to cover a single sentence, you might not be cut out for this.
Ethan has spoken openly and publicly about his Tourette's.
We know. You just shared 2 examples, but since they were edited out of context, I'm not including them here.
There's a study that says that 86% of those diagnosed with Tourette's will be diagnosed with a second psychiatric disorder during their lifetime.
Wow, a study!
Nearly 58% will receive 2 or more such diagnoses, according to a study led by researchers from UC San Francisco and Massachusetts General Hospital.
Yeah, but why bring up this one specific study unless you're trying to tell me that Ethan Klein was a participant in it, which doesn't seem likely based on where the researchers were located. So why is this here, Madison?
So Ethan was experiencing generalized anxiety disorder throughout college.
I know, unlike you, I actually read the text of the article you were using as a source.
I was super anxious and super depressed.
And if you're curious about the story of how Ethan and Gila Klein met, you can find the video on the H3H3 Productions channel.
Many experience anxiety in school. The constant social interactions, stress, pressure, deadlines, all of that seemed to make school a breeding ground for anxiety.
Don't worry, I'm not including examples of all the filler.
Ethan's anxiety became so bad he was desperate to get away from his environment, which led to him taking a trip to Israel in 2007 when he was 22. years old as part of the Birthright program, which offers to fund 10-day trips to Israel for people of Jewish heritage. Ethan Klein's family is Ashkenazi Jewish.
What does that mean, Madison? What are the different types of Jews, and can you name them all?
The trip Ethan took is officially part of a program called
Taglit
Birthright Israel, which offers free educational trips to Israel for young Jewish adults worldwide. Some claim that Birthright functions as a soft power.
What is that, Madison? Do you even know who Joseph Nye is?
Or a public diplomacy project for the Israeli government.
You're speaking as though the Jewish diaspora isn't aware that is the point of the Birthright trips. Promotion for Israel and promotion for more procreation.
Some controversy also revolves around where the money comes to fund these Birthright trips and whether the major donors influence the messaging or the itinerary.
The purpose of the Birthright program is to create more births of Jews. The American Jews I know who did it in college were fully aware what the intent of the program was. And they wanted a free trip, and they got one. They made friends.
While visiting Yad Vashem, the Holocaust Memorial in Jerusalem.
If I didn't know you were censoring words so you could get as many ads as possible on this, I'd be suspicious right now.
Ethan noticed Ela Hackman.
Me and Ela met at the Holocaust Museum.
You're not even letting a Jew say the word Holocaust?
It seems like meeting Ela was the cure to Ethan's troubles. One would assume Ethan associated his Birthright trip, traveling to Israel, meeting the love of his life, Ela, as integral to saving his life.
The only one assuming this is you.
Ela Hackman
was
born in Tel Aviv, Israel, on December 12, 1987. She was raised in Holland.
Anyone else hear the word Holland and get really confused before you remember that Madison can't pronounce Hebrew words and it's Holon?
At the time of meeting Ethan, Ela was serving in the Israel Defense Forces, otherwise known as the IDF.
Yeah, most people just say the army unless they're trying to make a specific political point. Is that what you're doing, Madison?
Women in Israel are required to serve in the Israel Defense Forces under the Security Service Law of 1949, which made mandatory service required for all people.
Not all people. Citizens of age. Like in Korea.
The standard length of service for a woman is around 2 years, whereas men serve 32 months, 2 years and 8 months.
Did you see that? She used a primary source.
While some will resist joining the service and have to face jail time, others will enjoy their time in service and do extra unregulated work.
Holy mischaracterization, Batman! Ela Klein spent her mandatory 2 years in the army as a secretary. End of story. She did not have any combat action or experience except for a single ride-along.
As Ela commented on a raid she participated in while she was in the IDF, these raids are not exactly regulated.
It was in conjunction with the Palestinian authorities. That's the most regulated you can get.
At the time of meeting Ethan, Ela was on a break from service. Despite all of his anxiety, Ethan decided he would approach Ela, and the two immediately clicked.
Ela's break from service was so that she would be there to meet the young American men. Guess how I learned that? I learned that from this video, watching a clip that I don't think Madison has ever seen.
After his Birthright trip was up, Ethan had to return home to the United States. However, him and Ela remained in touch, and the two spoke over Skype. Ela was very shy, but claims in an interview—
What do you mean, but claims? Why are you so determined to call this woman a liar?
In an interview with Insider—
And this is how I found out that there are multiple magazines called Insider, besides Business Insider. So she should be saying Business Insider.
That meeting Ethan helped her open up. I was such a shy person that I would barely speak in a group setting or open up at all. When I met Ethan, he really pushed me in ways that were so healthy for my personal growth. He made me more open and confident, and he would always just compliment me or push me to do whatever it was that I was inspired to do. Ela also claimed that she helped Ethan pick his battles.
Why do you keep using the word claimed as if she's lying about her relationship? If I asked you about yours, could I then say, Madison claims she and her husband are happy?
Even if it didn't always work. I get him to be a little more responsible maybe, or think twice. It doesn't always help. He's going to do what he's going to do, but I do think we both influence each other. By 2009, Ela traveled to the US to live with Ethan. After living with Ethan for a year, her visa expired and she moved back to Israel.
So you go back, you see her just via Skype, email and stuff. When do you actually physically see each other?
It was a while. Ela had a boyfriend.
A year?
I came here for 2 months and I went back, and then another year.
Ela just said she was living with Ethan in America for 2 months. Not a year. Where'd you get a year from?
Damn.
Yeah, I was persistent, man. Because a guy like me gets a girl like that interested, you follow that thread.
It went from like Skype relationship to living together immediately.
Yeah.
Wanting to continue their relationship, Ethan Klein moved to Israel.
Why are you saying Ethan Klein? We already know it's Ethan Klein. You've been using Ethan. Why all of a sudden is Klein? back in your script.
He got a desk job in marketing and content management. He and Hila lived together in an apartment.
Did they? I can't trust you now. You don't know the difference between 2 months and a year.
I worked when we were in Israel for 5 years at a desk job.
If you are interested in this story, you can get it from your mom's house. YMS Studios.
After some time, Ethan felt unsatisfied in his job. He was ready for a change, and Hila was studying video art. Hila was enrolled in the Shankar College of Engineering, Design, and Art in Ramat Gan. She was assigned to make a video about addiction. It seems like at the time, Ethan wanted to impress Hila. He offered to collaborate with her because there was another male art student that Hila was impressed with at the time. Ethan wanted to be better than him.
You know, you don't even need to say at the time, one time.
Hila was in a class with this dude, and they made a video together.
I don't really like Ethan's voice on Helium, so if you guys want to watch the full video, you can find it on Hila's channel.
So Ethan volunteered to help, and the first video they made together was titled Chocolate, intended to be about addiction. This was also when the YouTube channel H3H3 Productions was created on April 30th, 2011. The name H3H3 is often translated as he.
Then why does it use the number 3? You should tell me that.
But the name came from the two initials, Ethan Edward Klein and Hila Hackman.
Really? Really? There's a K in H3H3.
While the channel gained popularity due to the Klein's reaction commentary and satirical comedy sketches, Ethan first used the platform to upload short comedic sketches with no real direction, which I think most YouTubers do when they first start creating content.
Cover all 9,000 taste bud. Aerate it. Warm it up.
Is Madison saying that all early YouTube were imitations of Tim and Eric Awesome Show Great Job bits?
Ethan described this period of his YouTube career as unwatchable. Ethan and Hila married in 2012. In the early years of their YouTube career, they're living together in Tel Aviv, Israel.
Hey, this is a lot better than just copying and pasting the Wikipedia into your script and not giving it credit. Good job.
Welcome to the fucking shithole neighborhood known as Florentine in Israel.
I get the feeling he really doesn't like it in Israel. Anybody else picking up on that? And if you want to watch the rest of the video, it's on Hila's channel, so we can skip it here.
Yet Ethan, surprisingly during this time, exhibited his own version of anti-Semitism.
Well, I already know about self-hating Jews, so I guess there must be a type of Jew who hates other types of Jews. It's so dumb. So dumb. I'm keeping it.
On the people living in Israel.
You can't be anti-Semitic on somebody. You can be anti-Semitic to and about somebody. It's not something you can just throw on a person. Here, take the anti-Semitism.
Though now Ethan is the first to claim that others are anti-Semites.
No, he's not. He's one of the last. Did you not write this?
In the past, it seems Ethan would often say blatantly offensive things, yet he believed them to just be a joke.
Oh, this is so familiar. What is it giving? Oh yeah, it's giving no. Black people shouldn't use the N-word.
You can take these guys a little bit more seriously.
Wait a second. Madison, you said you wouldn't tolerate any discussion of anti-Semitism in this video. This shouldn't be in your video.
We'll get some good footage, hopefully, of these goofy-ass rat-tailed motherfuckers. The home of the Jew, the Jewy Jew. This is home of the super Jew, the dirty, grimy, jacket-wearing Jews.
Barbie says you're not supposed to say that in front of the non-Jews.
Ethan uploaded reaction content with his own unique style, alongside Hila's occasional commentary.
63 drill. Man, I love that pen and the cap look. It's so casual and like sexy.
This adulterated content is really annoying. Skip.
The reaction style content became a huge success.
Wow. We're skipping all that time? That's what this photograph tells me.
Could have been due to the fact that at the time, in 2014, obnoxious, low-effort YouTube channels...
I've got a theory. Madison didn't do this edit. In fact, she didn't choose those very unbiased words, obnoxious and low effort. No, somebody else with a vested interest in disliking the H3 podcast did this edit so they could get all of those people's faces on screen with those words. Wow, is this like a conspiracy?
Like Prank Invasion and SoFlo Antonio were receiving millions of views. Audiences needed a place to vent their frustration.
Now that sounds like a Madison line, a complete non sequitur. What do you mean vent their frustration? You're talking about comedy.
H3H3 initially provided a community where audiences could essentially laugh at these creators, as Ethan sort of rightfully called them out for their preposterousness.
If you're describing content from H3H3 Productions, why do you keep showing me the podcast?
SoFlo is a unique case, and he is beloved by all of us for such a great reason, and that's being that he puts himself...
See, now we're back in what, 2014, 15, 16? I have no idea. What I do know is a lot of people on that cast are too young to work legally.
The viral video Vape Nation could be seen as the marker for H3's success.
We were in 2014, then we went to the 2020s, and then we went back to 2015, and now we're in 2016. I need a time traveler.
Dressing up as a typical vapor with psychedelic glasses, a marijuana-patterned headscarf, and a socks with sandals combo, Ethan Klein...
Why did you say Ethan Klein? The text you're reading from says Klein. What's going on here?
...interacted with various members in New York City.
You just said he went around touching penises.
Without breaking character. The persona that Ethan adopted for the video became an established meme.
So what is going on? Is she dropping and adding words on her own? What does her script look like? And who wrote it?
You almost wonder if it was sort of the genesis of the street interview, street prank videos that we see today all over social media.
Yes, Ethan Klein was the first man on the street.
Because of the massive virality of Vape Nation, H3H3 Productions reached a new level of fame. Today, the video has over 28 million views, and it remains their most popular video to date.
That article's old. I bet the number's larger.
But ultimately, why did H3 gain a massive audience?
Well, ultimately, you just told me.
What made the channel so likable? I think this quote from an article on Medium...
Do you? Because I don't think you do. I think someone told you you do. Oh, and because anyone can write a Medium article... We're not reading it.
The Kleins created a second channel titled Ethan and Hila. On this channel, they posted in a sort of vlog-style format.
Yeah, but when are we? And I'm pretty sure you just mean vlogs.
We're gonna put 20 bucks in here.
Yeah, that's a vlog.
In April of 2015, the Klein family moved to the United States.
That's a weird choice. The Klein family? I would have just said the Kleins. They don't have kids yet.
Initially, they chose Los Angeles, moving briefly to New York City, and then choosing to move back to LA only a year later.
Did you guys hear the ADR too?
By February of 2016, H3H3 Productions reached 1 million subscribers. And only 6 months later, H3H3 passed the 2 million subscriber mark.
And that's why pronouns were invented. And only 6 months later, they...
Then H3 hit 3 million in December of that year. However, by 2016...
You mean... a few weeks later,
Ethan and Hila felt the need to change gears. More and more reaction-style content creators were flooding the scene. On top of that, the amount of creators who were doing cringeworthy things were sort of running dry.
You don't know how metaphors work.
At least you would think, though reaction-style content sort of made a resurgence later on.
All the hallmarks of a Madison original.
On top of that, creators like H3H3 had such a diehard following at the time that when they reacted to someone online, their fanbase flooded that creator's comment section and sometimes drove them off the platform entirely.
Were you hoping that people would forget you said the word like before H3H3 and therefore come away thinking that this sentence referred to the H3H3 Productions channel itself? Because it doesn't work on me, kiddo.
So towards the end of 2016, the couple started experimenting with live streaming on Twitch, which later evolved into the format the H3 podcast.
Here, Madison explains the concept of ad revenue in podcasts because she had no idea how they worked, so she didn't understand why someone would start a podcast, but now she does.
The first episode of the H3 podcast was uploaded on April 3rd, 2017, featuring Justin Roiland.
Welcome, everybody.
I've already told you how I feel about Ethan on Helium. Move on.
But the H3 podcast didn't just interview Ethan's famous friends.
What are you talking about? He's not Jay Shetty.
They also spoke with Ethan's famous influencer friends.
Those are still famous friends. You're contradicting yourself and it hurts my brain.
Which was, at the time, different from other podcasts.
Madison doesn't know that podcasts have been around for over 2 decades, and content creators have been interviewed on podcasts during that time. And the way time is being handled in this video makes me feel like I'm on a certain TV show.
This means that the H3 podcast filled a void in the budding podcasting space.
No, they didn't. It wasn't a budding space. It existed. It had its own infrastructure.
Most podcasts that had an interview format sought out traditional celebrities to interview. They didn't really take content creators seriously despite their ever-increasing influence at the time.
Joined with us today is Markiplier.
Yeah, no, watch the episode if you want to see this.
But early on, the H3 podcast provided a space where some of the biggest internet personalities could come onto the show and tell their story. For example, the content creator PewDiePie often makes gaming videos.
Does he? Is that what it... Does he often make gaming videos?
But going on to the H3 podcast, he told a behind-the-scenes story of his life, the complexities of fame, interactions with other creators. This gave an inside look into what many people were becoming more curious of, the behind-the-scenes of being a YouTube personality.
Curious about.
Is there anything that other YouTubers do that annoy you?
I find it really annoying when somebody takes the pitch of something and raises it so everybody sounds like they've been sucking gas. So I refuse to watch those clips.
Ethan and Hila's existing fan base from H3 Productions gave them a launching pad for this podcast. They were able to easily connect with other creators, have them as guests on their podcasts, compared to a podcast that's just starting out, and were able to cross-pollinate audiences.
Why do you sound resentful of their advantages?
By January of 2018, only a year later, the H3 podcast rivaled the H3 main channel, pulling in hundreds of thousands to millions of views per episode, which was unusual for podcasts at the time.
This is true if you're talking about YouTube video podcasts. Otherwise, you're wrong.
That being said, many did complain about Ethan's job as a host,
as evidenced by a Reddit post. Wow, Madison, you really do the most terrible job of trying to put together coherent video essays.
Even back then, early on, people thought that he wouldn't often ask the hard questions of the guests on the show, or would often interrupt.
And I just cut 30 seconds of helium-voiced Ethan having an uncomfortable interview with at least 2 different guests, but the only one we see edited into this is Bill Burr. Fuck that guy. Am I right?
The H3 podcast channel has since launched several spin-off shows, most notably After Dark, H3 TV, and Off the Rails.
The most notable were Frenemies and Leftovers. What are you talking about?
It seems like the H3 podcast started as a fun and casual show, but over time, along with the success of the show, Ethan began to view himself as a serious podcaster. He essentially ripped himself away from his roots.
What roots? The only thing you've taught me is that Ethan started out as a really bad interviewer.
And more, the clients began diving into serious endeavors, bigger and bigger investments that were reliant on an audience who loved and adored them.
I know. You love saying more and more, but we can't have more and more unless we've actually started something to begin with. So what you need to do is give us the first endeavor, and then after that, you can say more and more, okay?
But they had millions of fans who loved and supported them.
That's not a but, it's an and. I said that's not a but.
That would never go away, right?
Why are you talking about them as if they are children? Are they baby Jojo Siwa to you and they don't understand that audiences grow and change?
In 2017, Hila was inspired to start a clothing company. Hila went to art school. She liked fashion and design, but she felt like there was a lack of colorful clothing.
And everyone knows that quilted, Star of David shaped placemats are fashionable. Oh, you know what? She promised no discussion of anti-Semitism, but she didn't cut herself off from providing visuals of it. Is that it?
On the market, especially for adults. She compared in an interview this lack of colorful clothing to the colorful clothing out there for children.
If you're going to use a direct quote, you don't get to cut it off or paraphrase it in order to change the meaning. She referred to children's apparel and vintage clothing having colorful options. You're making it sound a little different than that, aren't you?
And so she said, I just decided to try and go for it. I just designed one capsule and thought whatever happens, happens. This decision to start a clothing line.
I would place money on Madison originally having said Klein told WWD, not knowing that it's Women's Wear Daily and they had to cut it.
Coincided with the adpocalypse in 2017. Many creators saw significant drops in ad revenue. Hila said, over the course of 2 weeks when the adpocalypse happened, the revenue went down 80%, which was just insane. And it kind of shook us because all of a sudden you realize you're totally at the hands of this company and you don't know what could happen at any moment.
Isn't it nice that we finally reached a point in the video where multiple sources are credible sources?
Hila decided to call the brand Teddy Fresh because Ethan and Hila loved the name Theodore or Teddy. Theodore happens to be the name of their first son. Teddy is the nickname they have for each other.
I didn't know that, but I can believe that it's accurate because it came from a reliable source.
Following the launch of Teddy Fresh's first collection in October of 2017, the brand almost immediately saw massive success. Much of its apparel would sell out shortly after dropping.
Why were the words almost immediately in that sentence?
And the line reflects Hila's own personal style.
Wait, something's happening.
Wow, Ethan. Great move. Keep it up. Proud of you.
I thought we already covered this.
As Ethan's success grew, he became known as a strong voice on YouTube.
What kind of category of individual is a strong voice on YouTube? I really don't understand where you're going with this.
Ethan gained a lot of success on the YouTube platform when he began advocating for other creator rights.
Now where are we in the timeline? You just told me the success was the channels that they started.
Wibbly wobbly, timey wimey.
At an early stage when being a content creator was a new career for many, so it was ripe for grifters and people who took advantage of the unknown laws.
This is where an experienced reader-writer would say it was the Wild West. But Madison doesn't know how to use metaphor.
Ethan called out CSGO on a video uploaded on July 4th, 2016, titled Deception, Lies, and CSGO,
which you can watch on the H3H3 Productions channel like she just showed you.
In the video, Ethan spoke about how 2 popular gaming YouTubers were operating an illegal gambling operation.
They were operating an illegal operation? That shouldn't be funny. Why is that funny?
Through the game Counter-Strike Global Offensive.
And I cut this upon realizing that Madison's point was actually not true at all.
Of the essentially gambling site CSGO Lotto, which allows players to gamble using in-game items. Following the release of Ethan Klein's video, which was in collaboration with the YouTuber Honor the Call, Polygon reported that a lawsuit was filed against Valve, one of the creators of CSGO. This lawsuit was filed by a player. This player accused the developers of allowing an online gambling market to develop within the game.
Because of the H3H3 Productions video, or...
Now this is when it gets really interesting. People have created a class action lawsuit.
How did they file the lawsuit after Ethan's video was published, but the lawsuit was part of his video? Where did the lawsuit come from?
I told you I'm a time traveler. I got it in the future.
The fact that Ethan was involved in calling out creators who were conducting a shady online scheme that ended up in the FTC getting involved is pretty big news.
But they already were in the news.
And pretty monumental when it comes to influencers and their online businesses.
And it had nothing to do with Ethan Klein. He's just one of the people who covered it.
And from there, not only did it seem like Ethan continued advocating for online content creation, but for the right of audiences.
Hey, things are seeming again. That means Madison is making it up. When something seems away, that's because it isn't true.
It's the well-being of online content creation without bad actors' involvement.
Front-loading the idea that someday Ethan Klein will work with bad actors or become one himself. Can you imagine if he were terrible at acting?
In 2016, H3H3 posted a reaction video reacting to a guy named Matt Haas.
Well, if he's just some guy, who cares?
A YouTuber who posted comedic skits on his channel Matt Haas Zone, often containing his bold guy persona. The reaction video posted to the H3H3 Productions channel was titled The Big, the Bold, the Beautiful.
And if you'd like to see clips from that video, you're gonna have to go watch it yourself.
The H3H3 video received millions of views. It's safe to say Matt Haas did not like that. Matt tried claiming that the reaction video was a re-upload of his content and that he was entitled to the legal earnings from the video.
Copyright. Interesting. By the way, your Roger Corman movie is over. Does playing it in the corner on an old CRT count as transformative? Or is it transformative because it's just part of the mise en scène?
On May 25th of 2016, the couple uploaded a video addressing the lawsuit that Matt levied against them.
Yes, we are being sued.
Are you understating this lawsuit because they won?
To this early instant, Ethan and Hila appeared to be champions of fair use and reaction style content.
Appeared to be. Why do you keep telegraphing the fact that you consider Ethan and Hila Klein to be villains?
The entire community came together to support them in their cause.
It's not just the timey-wimey photos. Ascribing deceitful motives to the Kleins indicates you already know so much about them that you can attest to their deception. That characterization comes from the future. Like these photos.
Here we are in the future and it's bright.
For fair use in its early days and interpretations, which influenced how audiences and creators interpret fair use and reaction style content to this day.
Do you not understand that it was a legal case that set a precedent for copyright and reaction content?
Ethan and Hila even got assistance from other creators, like Ryan Morrison, the video game attorney, and Michael Lee, 2 lawyers turned content creators.
And he says,
maybe Madison doesn't believe in chronology. Maybe time is too confusing to her, after all.
People assume that time is a strict progression of cause to effect, but actually, from a non-linear, non-subjective viewpoint, it's more like a big ball of wibbly-wobbly...
timey-wimey stuff, I know.
Copyright strikes are very bad for creators and come with immediate penalties and long-term risks. But Matt didn't stop there. On April 27th, 2016, Matt Haas filed a first amended complaint and jury demand to the U.S. District Court in the Southern District of New York, where the Kleins lived at the time.
Another piece of evidence you didn't edit this video. We've already seen the lawsuit in the excerpt from the Kleins video that I cut because I hate helium voice.
The filing claimed that the original work, Matt's video, comprised the majority of the infringing work, the H3H3 video. In reality, Ethan and Hila Klein appeared in 80% of their video.
Oh, so you can play the whole movie Little Shop of Horrors because you're on screen the whole time too. So it's not the same as just playing the movie?
The filing demanded earnings from the H3H3 Patreon and threatened to sue YouTube if they removed the copyright strike.
You just said the lawsuit against the Kleins contained threats against YouTube. You probably don't even understand that's what you said.
On May 25th, YouTuber Philip DeFranco created a GoFundMe page titled Help for H3H3. This GoFundMe page raised over $170,000 to help the Kleins with their legal fees. On May 26, 2026, H3H3 posted a video titled A New Chapter for Fair Use on YouTube. The Kleins announced the Fair Use Protection Account, or the FUPA account. They claimed that this account will be used only for the purpose of protecting fair use.
You know, people are claiming more and more every day. I'm claiming those ashes here and in your title cards are that thing you lied about and said wouldn't be tolerated in your video.
The Kleins vowed to join the fight against fair use protection on YouTube.
They didn't volunteer as tribute, they were sued.
They donated $5,000 of their own money.
Is this separate from the GoFundMe? You haven't said.
I was thinking when initially hearing about the FUPA account that so many creators, especially small creators, would greatly benefit from a fund like that, especially having legal assistance in complicated matters like copyright strikes and navigating these complicated issues.
But because you don't understand how time works, you thought it was still a thing now in present day. Life must be very confusing for you.
When I first started out, I got a random cease and desist in the mail from Russell Hartley that I had no idea what to do with.
Google it.
I've gotten copyright claims, like 13 on my Tana Mojo video, that were extremely complicated to remove, and have had very helpful friends that have given me advice.
You're a very fortunate young woman.
But to have something like the FUPA fund where you could go to and have assistance if you're a small creator, scared and have no idea what to do would be extremely helpful. So I was looking into whether the FUPA fund was still in existence.
You know, I can almost believe that because you are stupid enough to think that it still exists.
But the FUPA fund dissolved and is no longer in use. A big reason for the FUPA fund's dissolution is that the Kleins used the FUPA fund for their own legal fees, as well as several $1,000s out of pocket to fight the legal battle against Matt Haas.
Yeah, it cost more than they had any idea to expect, which means they used all the money. And that thing about helping other creators wasn't originally part of the plan for that money. You're making shit up again.
While it is often the case that legal fees can add up and become more than you'd ever initially expect,
that actually is the case. In this case, you solved it. Congratulations, detective.
Well, the fact that the Kleins closed the FUPA fund after spending the money on their own legal fees, instead of keeping it open, maybe replenishing the fund once they're able to, so that other creators could have used it, well, that's a little disappointing.
Because you're an idiot and don't know how finances work. Don't even get me started on escrow accounts.
This move received criticism from many, like Keemstar, who suggested that the Kleins scammed their audience.
Weird, you also seem to have not read the part where it says that Keemstar took back that accusation.
This, in turn, made Keemstar into an enemy of Ethan Klein.
Someone didn't like Keemstar?
In the end, Ethan and Ela Klein won their lawsuit, with U.S. District Judge Catherine B. Forrest ruling that their commentary video constituted fair use as a matter of law and describing it as quintessential comment and criticism.
Yay! Oh, that's right. We're not cheering for them, are we?
This wasn't just a landmark case for YouTube.
YouTube itself wasn't part of this legal case.
It was a landmark case for Ethan and Ela Klein's career, for their brand. So many creators came together to support Ethan and Ela when everything was almost taken from them.
Wow, they have a lot of supportive friends, just like you said you did. Isn't it nice that everybody has friends?
Yet a pattern was beginning to emerge when it came to Ethan Klein. He always expected others to be there for him at his lowest moments.
How can a pattern emerge when you only have one example? If we're about to travel through time again, I'm going to be very upset.
Always had enemies that he believed were working against him. But when his friends were at their lowest moments, well, they were content.
One, I don't think he always had enemies. It's you doing that whole paranoid Jew thing again. And I don't believe you that he made his friends content. You know why I don't believe you? Because you said a pattern emerged after one incident. You don't get a pattern with a singular case. Oh, I need to walk away.
Over time, since reaction-style content became overdone, and Ethan became branded as a pioneer on YouTube.
What does overdone even mean? And you can't be branded as something positive. When you're branded, it's something negative. Do you know what branding even means, or do you think it's about, like, clothing labels and products?
Who safeguarded other content creators, he turned his brand towards critiquing other content creators.
Oh no, we're going back in time again. Also, yeah, Madison doesn't know that there are two different types of brands.
Who took things too far.
How? By getting sued?
The only thing is, these content creators claimed that behind the scenes, Ethan acted as their friends. Essentially, publicly, Ethan was acting like a hypocrite.
You don't say someone is acting like a hypocrite. You say someone is a hypocrite.
For example, Ethan uploaded a video titled The Leafy Rant. He accused content creator at the time, Leafy.
Did Leafy get a new name?
Of being a bully and picking on people who weren't able to defend themselves. Most of Ethan's takes, I would say, I would agree with personally.
Yeah, but you've only shared 2 of them with us, so I don't know if I would agree with them.
The problem is, many people felt that Ethan was a pioneer of this sort of content style.
I don't see how that's a problem.
And so he was a hypocrite.
You've not demonstrated anything that shows him being a hypocrite. You're just saying he's a hypocrite and expecting us to believe you.
Like when Ethan criticized Leafy for making content critiquing children, when he himself had done the same thing before. Both, of course, very wrong.
When he missed his 5th period geometry test.
I knew it. We've gone back in time again.
The blue box, it's my time machine.
I know, but this one's too small on the outside to get into the bigger than the outside inside.
In September of 2017, PewDiePie had made headlines for using the N-word.
What a nigger. What the fuck?
This instant came just months after PewDiePie made headlines for videos containing anti-Semitic and Nazi imagery.
You're doing it again. You said there wouldn't be any anti-Semitism in this video.
Ethan spoke about the incident on the H3 podcast.
What you get?
Ooh, a practical demonstration of why Jews don't make certain jokes with non-Jews, because you find out later that the non-Jews weren't really joking.
Ethan had befriended the YouTuber iDubbbz.
Ian says they were never really friends. They just worked together a lot. Are you contradicting this?
Who at the time, due to his pretty toxic content, developed a relatively toxic fan base who had admired his edgy content.
Why is it that all bad video essayists make the mistake of using the same word multiple times in a single statement?
His comedy would often include the use of racist and homophobic slurs.
We are very fucking stupid.
To have ever found this man funny, but don't worry, it wasn't your fault. You were a child.
During an H3 podcast featuring iDubbbz, Ethan recited the same racist and homophobic slurs. At some point, even Ian, aka iDubbbz, looked uncomfortable.
Have you not seen his content? He always looks uncomfortable. Apparently it's the IBS.
Questioning whether Ethan was taking the bit a little bit too far.
Ethan Klein was so offensive that he offended the N-word, F-word guy?
Yeah, I've already said the N-word. You can't take me down. Yeah, I love that I can just say yeah.
As you can see, this isn't the original source and it has been clipped out of context, but from what I could glean, Ethan's making fun of Ian for being the N-word, F-word guy.
Present day, Ian or iDubbbz would post a video apologizing for his past content.
Yeah, it took him a really long time to apologize, and you're implying that Ethan Klein has never apologized for any of his content, which I don't think is correct.
He admitted that he cultivated an audience who believed that this type of dialogue was acceptable.
Nope. Ian Jomha's bad enough as is. I am not listening to his helium voice.
His behavior also attracted racist people who could use that dialogue and pass it off as just edgy humor.
And you just showed me Ethan Klein teasing him for it.
Ethan, on the other hand, largely ignores this part of his past.
What you just said is that Ethan Klein has never apologized for any offensive content.
Even his possible blackface.
What is possible blackface? Was he dressed up and covered in makeup pretending to be a black or brown man of a different ethnicity?
His viewers even enable this behavior.
No, they don't. Ethan Klein has never done blackface on record. There are no photographs of Ethan Klein doing blackface.
Claim those images are taken out of context.
But this is a Reddit post. Show me images and then I can make the determination for myself.
And stem from the Kleins doing spray tans and charcoal face masks, even though the title of their YouTube video is called The Black Challenge.
Then the fans were right. It isn't blackface, unless this is also racist. No, Data, you're not actually gold. You're more like a pearl.
Subreddits, on the other hand, won't let Ethan forget this history. Compilations exist online of Ethan saying the N-word.
How many?
We know your editors already put one in, but you don't know about that, do you?
But here's where things get very dark. The strange videos that Ethan and Hila have taken part in.
By phrasing it that way, you're making it sound like they never made their own videos and they were parts of other people's videos and those other people were responsible for any poor decisions.
Aren't only offensive, they're extremely disturbing. And I would say, personally, they go far beyond what even Leafy and PewDiePie have posted.
I sense an out-of-context clip coming.
The very people Ethan has called out for being wrong in videos they've posted. I think his content has gone far beyond that.
If Ethan's content was this offensive, I feel like you would have mentioned it before this point.
You've been warned for the content that I'm about to show you. And
if it's so awful, I don't think you should be showing it to us.
How it completely shatters the image that Ethan and Hila have spent crafting online.
Who else noticed that Madison used a plural pronoun when describing the content that was so offensive she couldn't wait to show it to us?
Image of being advocates on the side of creators, of people. Ethan Klein symbolizes and mocks Boston Marathon bombing survivor.
It's so weird how nobody thought that this video was anything other than a parody until after Ethan and Hassan broke up. And then all of a sudden, there's this group of people who have decided, no, that wasn't Ethan Klein being funny or trying to be funny. That was his true self.
Ethan Klein was 28 years old when they filmed this video. It was recorded by Hila Klein, the owner of Teddy Fresh. Keep that in mind. Ethan and Hila were married, and Hila was filming this video that you're about to watch.
Which helps convince me that yes, this was a joke. Otherwise, why would Hila be filming it?
Ethan comments on this Boston Marathon bombing survivor.
Let me stop you right there. We won't actually be watching Madison talk anymore about this subject because she will be repeating statements I've already researched and found both inaccurate and highly biased.
Wants to fuck that shit, boy. Yeah.
Isn't it great how Snark saved the video for everybody? And I mentioned the plural pronoun earlier because Madison is only going to show us one video. Not more than one, just one.
For Hila to be someone who is in the IDF, to have claimed that she experienced various hardships growing up in Israel.
Where's your evidence she said this?
Fear of bombings from Muslim countries, and then take part in mocking a bombing victim. That
didn't actually happen, but that's okay. We can still be pissed off that they thought it was funny to pretend to be that kind of person in the first place and be critical of that.
Personally, causes me to lose all sympathy for the two of them whatsoever.
So this is what I was waiting for from the beginning of the video, where you made the implication that there were some things you just couldn't forgive, and apparently blue humor is one of them. Have you seen what James Gunn used to put on Twitter? God, you'd never get over that.
Ethan has continually, over the years, said incredibly creepy things when it comes to women.
No, he hasn't. The only example I've seen is that podcast where he's talking about how the natural world means that men conquer women. And technically, he wasn't incorrect. It just wasn't very PC.
Like when he said on the H3 podcast in front of Joji and Post Malone that women are meant to be conquered.
Wait, I called it?
Maybe we do have a problem with accountability culture.
Accountability culture is a workplace strategy. It's not an actual thing in society itself.
Not in the ways in which we hold other people accountable, but in the ways that we're not able to hold ourselves accountable.
Start with yourself. Start with yourself. You made an entire video claiming that criticism of you was actually internalized misogyny.
Hold a mirror up to ourselves.
Which you probably do quite often, so how don't you see yourself as the hypocrite you are?
Grow as individuals, understand where we went wrong, change, move forward.
And every time you've been given that opportunity, you've dug your heels in and cried instead.
Try to do better. When you point the finger, you have 3 fingers pointing back at you.
Not when you've got pancake hands. All of my fingers are pointing straight at you.
Ethan's fans didn't seem to realize the extent of his past.
Are we back in the future again? Because you're talking about his past, but we were just there, so I don't know where we are in the timeline.
At least many of them didn't, and Ethan was making waves as a content creator who stood up either for or against other content creators.
At least most of them. You're making up numbers again. The call-out content didn't have a huge separation from the blue humor that you hate so much. It was practically simultaneous, so I don't know where you think you are. But I think the people you're talking about are people like me who only knew who Ethan Klein was when we ran across the H3 podcast in the 2020s.
To many,
quantify many.
They trusted him, his opinions, the ways in which he condemned others.
Who is he condemning? Can you give me an example? And what is he condemning them to? You're making him sound like part of the Inquisition.
I didn't expect a kind of Spanish Inquisition. Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition.
Rules for thee, but not for me.
You've said this 3 times now. I think you own it more than Ethan Klein ever could.
While Ethan's fans trusted him, what they didn't know or realize was that to Ethan, they were becoming his armor.
You're making things up again, Madison, but I'm starting to think that you just don't know it.
His army, a way to take down his enemies.
You're simply a useful tool, Madison, spreading lie after lie.
Through the years, instead of lifting other creators up, like the initial promise he sold to the world, Ethan tore others down to lift himself up.
Give me an example then, Madison.
Ethan thrived off of having someone to hate. He always had many enemies online and few friends.
I'd like a list of those names.
Or when he had friends, they seemed to bond off of their mutual enemies. This is something he roped his audience into without even realizing it.
You know, with that photo on screen, what you've said is that Hassan Piker and Ethan Klein became friends because they hate the same people.
For example, one of Ethan's biggest enemies throughout his career was fellow village troll Keemstar.
Village troll? Are you so stupid you don't even know that it's a village, idiot? Trolls live under bridges.
Ethan's audience seemed to be sort of parasocially involved.
They seem to be sort of. You realize you're disqualifying every single statement you're making by adding these words that you need to add because the things that you're saying are not actually fact. facts.
In Ethan's disdain for Keemstar, without maybe even realizing such.
Madison, who do you think Keemstar is, and why are you defending him?
To the extent that when Hila announced her pregnancy online, many of the comments were as such.
You're saying those memes hurt Keemstar's feelings. Has Keemstar never been successfully impregnated?
Well, it could just be a joke, a shared meme to viewers. They, without realizing it, were participating in a long-standing pattern that Ethan had of needing to have many enemies to tear down and go against.
I don't get it. If Ethan Klein had so many enemies at this point in his career, why is the only one you can name Keemstar?
Build a fan base that could help him in his crusade. While many of Ethan's audience saw Keemstar as an easy enemy to dislike.
You're saying iDubbbz made content cop Keemstar in defense of his friend Ethan and not for any other reasons whatsoever?
The tide started shifting when Ethan began demanding that they see likable people. People Ethan brought onto his show as his friends, as enemies that they now turn against as well.
This isn't just detention time, Madison. If you don't give me some names, not only are you getting a referral, but I'm going to be calling all of your friends into the office individually and asking them the same questions. So if you want to help yourself, start now.
But this strategy, at least initially, worked out well for the Kleins, catapulting their online success and following, bolstering their net worth.
You're saying that Ethan and Hila Klein became rich by picking out enemies and forcing their fans to also hate those enemies? Where did the earning of money come into this? I'm really confused about that part.
Ethan Klein has a net worth of $20 million, and Hila Klein has a net worth of $25 million.
How? How did they make millions of dollars by convincing their fans that they should hate the same content creators? That doesn't magically turn into money. Ugh, why am I even asking you? The only thing I know about you is that you like money so much that you'll censor any possibly offensive word in order to make sure you get it.
Though some of the ways this wealth has been acquired may be perceived as less than savory.
Maybe perceived as less than savory. You mean like the ways you acquire your wealth by making takedown videos that are full of lies? That's pretty unsavory. I wouldn't want to taste that.
In the fashion industry, the act of copying, or at least borrowing heavily from someone else's designs, is pretty common.
Who determines whether it's copying or borrowing inspiration? Is it you? Are you making that determination?
In September 2020, Ethan Klein said that James Charles' new merch line looked pretty identical to items from Hila's recent Teddy Fresh collection.
Well, where is it? You're supposed to show it to us after you talk about it, so the audience can go, oh yeah, they are the same, or no, they're very different, or it's just pastel color blocking. Come on, it's been around since the 1980s.
I think in this case, it just kind of hurt because it's a fellow YouTuber who's actually got way bigger influence than we do.
Yeah, way big.
And so it just kind of hurts.
Hila then shared photos of the 2017 sketches of her color block hoodie, revealing a pattern and color scheme similar to the sisters' hoodies.
You're reversing time again. The H3 hoodie came first, so the sisters' hoodie looks like it. That's how it works. You can't just switch those around. We believe in chronology.
Initially, James responded with a photo of the inspiration for his hoodie.
If that's the photo, then he stole the hoodie design from someone. It just wasn't Teddy Fresh. But I'm guessing it's not the photo. I'm guessing whoever edited this is stupid enough to think we're stupid.
Saying that he's never seen the Teddy Fresh color block hoodies. Ethan released the DMs between him and James and spoke further about them, claiming that James Charles admitted that he did not care, even if one of his team members did steal the Teddy Fresh design.
I know. You're calling Ethan Klein a liar by using the word claim. But if he did share the DMs, then he's not just claiming it. It should be there in text. So which one is it?
One would assume that Teddy Fresh having someone plagiarize their designs would make the Kleins against doing something similar.
Is Madison Harnish accusing other people of plagiarism?
However, in 2021, a Reddit user came forward with allegations.
But we've already looked at enough Reddit, so let's rest our eyes for a bit.
The book, titled Dinosaur: 5 Knitting Patterns, was created by Gary Kennedy, who made various licensed knitting pattern booklets in the 1980s and 1990s.
What you're claiming is that, I guess, Hila Klein is an Intarsia knitter who had this in her library and decided nobody would remember it?
On the H3 podcast, Ethan admitted that the designs were plagiarized, but he claimed that the design was submitted by someone who was previously fired back in 2021, months earlier.
Why do you sound like you have a creamsicle up your butt? Isn't that what they're supposed to do?
Despite trying to pass the blame onto an anonymous former employee, Hila admitted in an interview with People that she's very involved in the design and all of the creative when it comes to Teddy Fresh.
Being very involved with the design and all creative is not an admission that she personally designs each clothing pattern. Unless Hila's a knitter, she wouldn't even be able to read that pattern book. She wouldn't be able to design a sweater.
Regardless, Ethan still made comments like we could probably still legally sell it, suggesting that nothing would happen if Teddy Fresh still sold the designs without crediting Gary Kennedy.
Did they?
1 month later, in December of 2021, Teddy Fresh debuted another sweater. We collaborated with Gary Kennedy on our vintage dinosaur sweater, who in the 1980s and 1990s led a world-renowned company that produced intarsia knitting patterns. Much love to Gary, who was gracious enough to lend us his design.
You're not happy with that, though. They did the right thing and you're still gonna be pissed off somehow, aren't you?
Despite seemingly learning their lesson.
Yep, not good enough. They're villains to you.
This would not be, allegedly, the last time that Teddy Fresh stole designs.
Allegedly means whatever you're about to show us is probably bullshit.
Allegedly.
Okay, so it's not only bullshit, but it's bullshit that could get somebody in legal trouble unless they say it's alleged. Got it.
In the past, the brand has ripped a bear from a vintage t-shirt, only changing the color scheme before slapping a logo on it and reselling it.
No, that's a different bear. The limbs aren't even the same length, and the faces aren't similar either. Also, the Teddy Fresh one has shoulders. It's obvious that the Teddy Fresh bear was based on that bear, but it is an originally drawn design. It's not a copy and paste.
They did something similar to another random vintage t-shirt.
And if you hadn't skipped the rest of that line in the Women's Wear Daily article, you'd remember that Gila said she was inspired by vintage fashions.
In another side-by-side photo, Teddy Fresh seemingly ripped off an ASOS sunflower design.
Well, that's just ugly.
With only slight differences and the Teddy Fresh logo. Teddy Fresh also made a similar design to Prada's Flame Intarsia sweater. Pandora's upholstery also fell victim to the brand.
Yes, those designer labels are really victims of a designer who does similar styles.
And more recently, it seems like artists have lost interest in Gila, have stopped working with the brand.
It doesn't seem that way at all. You're a liar. That's why you said seems.
The respect for Teddy Fresh has fallen. What was once a respected endeavor, where a YouTuber went beyond the realms of content creation, is now floundering, and Gila is notably freaked out about it.
You haven't even looked at the Teddy Fresh website, have you? You don't know about the continuing fresh drops of clothing designs, sellouts, and the new makeup line, do you?
Recently, there's a Reddit post by an alleged insider.
Why do you keep bringing up Reddit posts? It's almost like somebody went through Reddit and gave you certain things to look at.
Who claimed that Teddy Fresh is not doing well. Take everything I say here with a grain of salt, as I'm not affiliated with the brand.
I'm not gonna take it at all. You're an anonymous person on Reddit. I can't believe Madison keeps shoving these in my face. It's like she knows it pisses me off.
The clients used to have famous associates, influencers they knew, who would support their brands, associate with their name. But over the course of the last few years, they have few friends and even fewer frenemies.
Aren't you clever?
Though at one point, Ethan was a part of the most famous online frenemyship.
That's not how suffixes work, Madison.
Why frenemies or love-hate relationships are so bad for your health. In a May 2019 video titled Instagram versus Reality.
What about the article? Was it just there so you could read the headline? That's weird.
Ethan discussed the growing epidemic that was tearing apart lives, families, worst of all, social media. That was the issue, that sometimes people looked differently in photos than they did in real life.
You say Ethan, but all I see is Trisha.
This video gained 13 million views. People were really concerned that women were deceiving people.
It was a comedy video, but you're treating it like it was a serious attack on all women. You're also calling Justin Bieber a woman.
These tricksters, these witches.
And it's like I thought. She doesn't understand comedy itself.
And the main person that Ethan called out in the video was Trisha Paytas, who he called the spokesperson of Instagram versus Reality.
Convenient. You know about Trisha. You did a takedown video on her, too.
Yes!
This girl is the spokesman of Instagram Reality.
Trisha responded on Twitter, posting several tweets, including one calling Ethan disgusting and a bully.
Disgusting bully calls another person disgusting bully. News at 10.
She posted a video titled H3H3 is harming young girls.
That's the kind of thing Trisha does. She always likes to say that other people are the problem when she is the borderline mess who has crashed through the internet time and again.
At its core, Trisha made some valid points.
Probably not, because you're the one saying so.
If women are photoshopping their photos, it could be because they're insecure.
That's not a valid point. That's just reality. Anybody using filters is doing so because they are insecure about their looks. Duh.
And making a video blasting that insecurity out to the public, to millions of viewers, probably not going to help them.
It's so nice to hear that you're here to support Trisha, a woman who dressed up as JonBenet Ramsey and reenacted her murder for content.
Trisha also mentioned that a variety of factors could influence how someone's looking depending on the day.
What's the line? It's common sense, I fear.
I definitely did not wake up looking like this.
I did.
Depending on whether I'm going through depression, in a better mental state, in a worse mental state, I probably look widely different.
You probably look widely different. You can't even be sure about yourself.
And that doesn't necessarily mean that a woman is deceiving her audience.
Most adults already know this, Madison. It's not something that needs to be taught.
Not to mention the pressure women often feel to adhere to the beauty standards.
The pressure that led you to put more plastic in your body than I have in mine, and I'm made of plastic.
Ethan, in his own responses...
What responses? To her tweets?
Seemed unaware of the whole beauty standard aspect of it all and preached that everyone should feel comfortable in their own skin.
We need to embrace that and lift ourselves up in the knowledge that we are all ugly, pathetic monsters that just want to eat McDonald's every day.
That's not Twitter. That's in the video. That was part of the video. Why do you think that was part of his conversation with Trisha?
You should listen to Ethan. This is definitely a man who feels very comfortable in his own skin.
But it's okay to body shame him because he's not human anymore. He did something Madison finds abhorrent. But she still likes Trisha.
Ethan addressed the situation for the final time on the H3 podcast.
How does Ethan address it a final time when you haven't shown him interacting with Trisha at all? As far as people watching your video are concerned, there was no conversation with or about Trisha Paytas.
I didn't know who she was, to be honest with you, but I guess she's actually quite a big YouTuber. She has like 5 million followers or something.
Aw, so that video was kind of like Trisha and Ethan's friendship meet cute?
Yet the feud between Ethan and Trisha would be reignited months later when Trisha came out with a video titled I Am Transgender. Spoiler alert, Trisha still identifies as female.
Holy crap, your music's annoying. I feel like this is something you should have an opinion on, Madison. This is a person who is making a joke out of transgender identity. You're okay with that?
Ethan commented on the backlash against Trisha during an episode of the H3 podcast.
Yep. She's okay with it.
In response, Trisha uploaded a video titled H3 is worse than Donald Trump.
And?
On Twitter, a user demands that Ethan have Trisha as a guest on the podcast, and Ethan responds if she's man enough. Trisha replies, $18 million and I'll do it. Ethan says, you'd definitely do it for free.
Of course she would.
A few days later, on October 18th, 2019, Ethan uploaded a video mocking Trisha's apology videos.
Hey guys, it's Ethan here again. I just wanted to come on really fast and apologize to everybody.
Well, he's in the wrong room, first of all. He needs to be in a kitchen, not a bathroom.
But Trisha surprised many when she appeared on the HD podcast on October 26, 2019.
Ethan was right. She does it for free.
Despite our differences and a few rocky moments, it was really fun having you in the studio.
Why didn't you read the first line? Is it because you don't know that there is a first line because you don't have access to the full text? You just have what you were given?
Ethan tweeted to Trisha after the episode dropped.
I'm right, aren't I?
Trisha and Ethan appeared to settle their differences. On the podcast, the pair had a genuine conversation regarding gender and social identity.
Hila was there too, but that's not important.
It's just the reality of it.
But you are a man.
You weren't born with
Right. Yeah, that I wasn't born with this is what they're saying.
See? Hila was part of the conversation. It was a 3-way, not a 2-way. Ew.
Trisha returned to the HD podcast months later. The Kleins reintroduced a dating game to help Trisha find love.
It seemed like a good idea at the time.
Although Trisha did not end up dating anyone from the video, she did have interest in Hila's brother, Moses.
She got a fetish.
Does your brother think I'm hot though? He was down?
Well, I don't talk to him about
But he knew it was
No, he wanted to apply.
He wanted to apply though. He did tell us he was going to.
Like in a serious way?
That's one way of taking a couple predators out of the dating pool.
Trisha later tweeted out photos of her and Moses social distancing together.
The love bomb. You can't get away from me because we're in quarantine. Yeah.
Towards the end of March 2020, she posted a photo of the pair together on Twitter. At the end, I won The Bachelorette.
But you were the Bachelorette. You've already won.
Hila responded at the time saying, stop this right now, with a vomiting emoji.
Oh no. When you're dealing with two narcissists, you can't give them the chance to go against what you want because they'll always take it.
At first, the internet wasn't really sure if Trisha was trolling or not, but as time went on, she seemed pretty serious about Moses and often expressed her frustration about Ethan and Hila meddling in their relationship.
Trisha's a compulsive liar. But she also does it for fun.
On September 15th, 2020, Trisha and Ethan joined forces and launched the Frenemies podcast, where they relied on their tumultuous chemistry to carry each episode.
I know for a fact that the Frenemies breakup got anti-Semitic, so Madison probably won't include it in the video.
The set even aligned with each respective host's personality and the energy they exude. Ethan's side was dark, gloomy, pessimistic.
What other color were they supposed to put there opposite pink? Green? Was he supposed to be alpha for you, Madison? Do you really want to see him in that green skin again?
Trisha's bright, pink, and vibrant.
Well, my friends, here we are. They said it would never happen.
And for me, it never will. That's right. I'm not even watching the Trisha clips unless I have to because Madison's voiceover is on them.
Despite both of them being very honest that things could go wrong very quickly, they embraced the idea of doing business together.
I'm not saying anything.
That being said, things often went wrong on the Frenemies podcast, which probably made it a very stressful working environment, but very entertaining for viewers.
Take that thing, now flip it and reverse it. Might have been an entertaining show for the audience, but emotionally draining for the crew.
In one episode, Trisha seemingly blindsided Ethan by mentioning his substance issues out of the blue to prove that he's not as open as he claimed. Ethan responded by accusing Trisha of weaponizing his issues against him.
He's right.
Trisha storms out of the podcast episode, creating a viral moment that received millions of views online.
You hide it more, just like Mike.
Oh, okay. Whew. All right. I thought she might have been wearing a Fallout costume, a Vault Tech uniform. She's dressed as Jennifer's body. Duh.
Ultimately, when you look at the way that Trisha was used on the H3 podcast,
in trying to villainize Ethan, you're taking away Trisha's autonomy and treating her as less than an adult human being. But I don't think you know you're doing that.
It seems like she was often used as a way to stoke her flames.
Having a woman stoke her own flames doesn't seem like a very kosher podcast.
For views and engagement. This is something that Ethan has done in the past to other content creators.
Can you name more than one, or do you have a singular example for me yet again?
That he's seen as easily provoked for engagement. Ethan Klein used to associate with the creator JonTron, who was exposed for some incredibly horrible, like blatantly bad takes.
How dare Ethan telepathically make JonTron have bad takes
that had him virtually canceled. Yet after the fact, Ethan invited him onto the H3 podcast to have a discussion.
Wait. Let me recontextualize this. So you're pissed off that Ethan had him on as a guest after everybody learned he had these bad takes that you're not actually telling me about because they're so awful?
Ethan continued to say things that seemed intentional to sort of garner a reaction within JonTron.
That's not what garnering is. You're like Eric the Gamer from Stephen A. Sarch's video on Hassan Piker fans. You guys don't know what verbs mean, especially the verb garner.
Jimmy Lee was a former dentist turned comedian. He gained widespread attention around early 2016 when Ethan Klein reacted to one of his videos.
This is a sin that just can't be forgiven.
Then Jimmy appeared in an H3 podcast in 2017, where Ethan started the episode by making condescending remarks about Lee.
And Jimmy Lee's a comedian, so he should be making condescending remarks back, right? Or does he have no autonomy either? Is it an age thing?
Yet another, more recent episode is a frequent segment the H3 podcast would have with a disabled creator named Gabe, who Ethan would often use for content.
And now you're taking away Uncle Gabe's autonomy! Nobody has autonomy. Trisha doesn't control her life, Jimmy Lee doesn't control his life, and Gabe makes no decisions about his life as a grown adult. Yeah. People are gonna think I pre-watched these the way you just set that up for me.
Through baiting Gabe to say outlandish things for essentially a good clip or good content. Like in this clip where Ethan asked Gabe about his experience in doing a sexual act.
Madison, Gabe is old enough to choose to have sex or not have sex. And he's old enough to be asked about it and decide whether he wants to answer the question. What is wrong with you that you think he doesn't get to be treated like everybody else?
Or Gabe not realizing he's being used, right?
Gee, I wonder why this anonymous post was deleted.
Looking forward to your birthday next Friday, which of course they didn't attend.
That's not true.
When Gabe is on the show all the time for frequent segments to be laughed at.
And you're assuming that people are laughing at him because that's what you do to people you perceive to have no autonomy. You laugh at them.
Nowadays, at times, Ethan will claim that his mental health is being used by others, that he's being baited into reacting, or others will claim that in defense of Ethan.
But when is nowadays at times, Madison? When is it?
But Ethan is one of the content creators that set that sort of system up.
Ethan Klein's the reason that people try to discredit other people by questioning their mental fitness?
Again, rules for thee, but not for me.
I get it. It's your epithet now. When I see that phrase, I will only think of Madison Harnish.
If you can't give Ethan something, either an entertaining clip or enough views from your own platform, he doesn't care what you have to say. William Osmond is an engineer who created a beanie that could talk, an invention his audience suggested he make for Ethan specifically in 2018.
He's an engineer, so how are you going to take away his autonomy?
During that summer, Ethan invited William onto the H3 podcast when William's subscriber base was almost at 700K.
We're supposed to go, wow, that's so cool, what a successful guy.
But Ethan didn't seem to view William as a valuable person to have on the show. The interview was limited to 20 minutes, instead of being the main focus of the show.
And Are you going to argue he should have had more screen time, Madison?
Once his 20 minutes were done, William was ignored and awkwardly instructed to leave.
And your clip has voiceover over the original video, so we're not going to watch it because it's no longer credible.
These examples show that ultimately, Ethan isn't this internet vigilante he was made out to be.
This is your first use of the word vigilante. Is he Batman now? Good. He gets an epithet too. He can be the Dark Knight, and you're still rules for thee, not for me.
Instead, he's an expert at content creation and always putting himself at the forefront.
Now I feel like you're confusing him with Mr. Beast. Oh wait, you just don't know what forefront means.
Sacrificing the needs of others if it doesn't benefit his platform or create good content.
Yeah, no, that sounds like Mr. Beast again.
The thing is, though Trisha was seen as easily provoked, which made for good content, like other examples which had worked out in the past, she was also unpredictable, using the system the H3 podcast had set up against them.
All of the words you just used were out of order, and I'm not even sure what you said.
Especially since Trisha had been dating Moses, she had a view into Ethan's personal life.
Yeah, and she tried to use it to blackmail him, but you're not going to talk about that, are you?
And ammunition she could use against him. When Ethan directs the heat at her, tries to embarrass her or make her look crazy to garner a reaction, she's able to fire back at him.
Oh, so she's fine. Everything Trisha does is perfectly moral because it's in self-defense.
In a way that other guests weren't able to easily do. But oftentimes, when Trisha would storm off in a podcast episode, the internet attributed this to her diagnosed BPD, or borderline personality disorder.
So the internet is responsible for taking away her autonomy and agency, is that it?
Either behind the scenes or on camera with the assistance of Dr. Drew, the two would make up and they would resume making the Frenemies episodes.
It's Love Line, what's on your mind? Call Ricky and Dr. Drew.
Then another situation would occur. During another episode, when Trisha said that they should have Hila on as a podcast guest, Ethan said, seemingly out of the blue, that she's not allowed to mention Hila anymore.
Ooh, things are seeming again. I think Madison knows that this one's bullshit.
Which seemingly would be uncomfortable and upsetting.
For Hila.
Considering Trisha was dating Hila's brother at the time.
And people have complicated interpersonal relationships.
After the podcast episode, Trisha made a few follow-up videos. Her main point was that Ethan intentionally does things to push her over the edge.
She's a grown adult woman who signed a contract. Why are you treating her like she's an infant?
Relax.
But the format of Frenemies seemed to work best when the two co-hosts shared a common enemy.
Like Dr. Drew? Who was totally respected in the 1900s.
They would both be friends when they were sharing an enemy, but when their conversations diverted into personal topics, the host quickly derailed into personal attacks.
Really, both of them would do that?
On June 8th of 2021, the podcast aired its 39th episode. Immediately, the energy in the podcast episode seemed off and went further off the rails from there.
No, that's a different H3 podcast show.
Ethan seemed disinterested in the topics that Trisha wanted to discuss, distracted by the pizza in front of him.
It's funny because it's the opposite.
Trisha called a bit centered around answering audience questions as stupid and lazy. Ethan responded, "A lazy podcast? You don't do anything for it. You just show up. We do all the work." And the two got into an argument over Frenemies' creative direction and finances.
Yeah, but he's right. I'm sure there are at least half a dozen people who can attest to the fact that Trisha would show up, do her thing, and leave. Sometimes early.
Trisha receives a 45% cut of the show, while Ethan Klein receives an extra 5% that goes towards production costs.
It's too early to allow myself uproarious laughter again, so I will just say, damn, she had it good and she threw that shit away.
Now, first off, if the show is incredibly successful, incredibly successful, and all you're doing is paying your employees a base salary.
I can't decide if I want to cut Madison off at this point, or if it will be funny to hear her try and explain how Trisha Paytas deserved more money.
Putting up a fabric backdrop, a basic table and mics, you know, that 5% can get pretty chunky if your podcast is getting tens of millions of views.
Totally. But you know what's even bigger than that 5%? The 45% that Trisha was taking home.
Incredible success. That 5% can really numerically change quite a bit.
And 45% can numerically change even more. Isn't it great how integers work and how bigger numbers are bigger than smaller numbers?
Do your employees get a raise because of that 5% production cost? Are you investing a ton into production costs? Or are you taking whatever isn't allocated to employees to the set for yourself?
I'd like to think, Madison, that you're just undereducated, but right now you're giving a word that I've promised myself not to say.
While to the public, 5% can feel silly to argue about, like a very small number.
Oh no, she can hear me!
Especially if Ethan's argument was that 5% was for production and the staff, which makes Trisha appear like she didn't care about H3 employees.
She didn't. She was an asshole to all of them, because Trisha's an asshole to everybody, because the only real person in Trisha's world is Trisha. Everybody else is an object to be used.
I could also see why Trisha may start to feel like she was getting undercut when it came to frenemies. Literally half the name, image, thumbnails, everything having to do with frenemies had Trisha's face on it.
But she wasn't contributing 50% of the work that went into the show. But you don't count anything that you can't see on screen.
Her image, her brand, and the whole podcast gave the H3 podcast a huge boost in viewership, likely not only to the Frenemies podcast videos, but across the H3 podcast channel.
Wow, you're so good at stating the obvious.
From new viewers who found out about the channel through the Frenemies podcast and became fans and decided to subscribe. I mean, think of the long-term upside, the amount gained beyond just the revenue made on the videos itself. When it comes to viewership across all videos, subscribers, audience members, and a fan base that Trisha never reaped the benefits from.
Madison has a unique ability to state the obvious while also turning it into something nefarious.
Because all of this was not done on Trisha's YouTube channel. Again, this used Trisha's name, her image, even her mental health issues in a podcast for viewership.
And she signed a contract for which she got 45% of the profits from it. You don't get how much that is because you've never had a job, much less one in a business like entertainment.
Then cut 45% to her. And I could see why Trisha started to see a huge boost across the H3 podcast channel, and she may have begun to feel like that was a bit unfair.
Trisha has many feelings, and they change quite frequently and rapidly, and that's not anybody's responsibility but Trisha's.
The same day as the big blowout podcast episode, Trisha uploaded a video announcing that she was leaving Frenemies. In the video, she expressed how she experienced a lot of anxiety while filming the most recent episode of the podcast.
Trisha's done too many emotional manipulation cry sessions like this. I mean, it's totally over the top.
Was that over the top? I can never tell.
And neither can Trisha.
Ultimately, she wanted to be more involved in the production side of things.
Trisha's a lolcow, and all lolcows share the same Rule 1.
Rule 1.
Trisha
lies.
In hindsight, after all that's transpired, one must wonder if Trisha was simply asking to have more involvement in the podcast. She didn't want to just show up and have all the work done for her.
Whenever Madison says one must wonder, I think we're all pretty clear on who that one is because the rest of us understand what's going on here.
But Ethan didn't like giving up control, not just to her, but to anyone. So Trisha wanted more involvement and was shut down. She was painted as a selfish person.
Yeah, but she chose the paint colors. Even the moldings.
Who was betraying the employees and wanted all of the money for herself. Ethan tweeted that because the podcast was ending, the production crew was now getting hate. The crew has done nothing but support them and work their asses off every week, and the treatment they get is unacceptable.
Are you about to argue that the treatment they received was acceptable?
Ethan tweeted, "Okay, I'm starting to get upset about all of this."
Yeah, we're not watching that.
Though afterwards, Ethan deleted all of his initial tweets and tweeted, "At the end of the day, Frenemies was a beautiful experiment that I will always cherish." On June 9th, Ethan uploaded an episode of the H3 podcast where he shared his side of the story. Ethan claimed that Trisha asked for an entirely new crew for production of Frenemies. He claimed that Trisha wanted the existing crew to be fired, which he ended up telling the crew this information.
Which he'd have to do if he was gonna fire them.
I don't know.
More than the average American third grader, but
if Trisha was a business partner who wanted more involvement to create a hostile work environment through telling your employees that your business partner wants all of them fired, which I have a really hard time personally believing is the case,
then you shouldn't be saying it. You just told your audience that you know that you're spreading lies.
For Ethan to essentially paint himself as the savior to his employees, to tell them that his business partner wants to fire them all, but he's not going to let that happen. Well, it kind of feels like you're villainizing someone before fully handling the situation privately.
Well, Madison does know a lot more about villainizing people than I do, so...
Involving other people, aka triangulating people in the situation to make that business partner feel like the enemy.
Or he could be clearing up misconceptions, but you've already villainized him in your mind and dehumanized him, so I guess to you, no matter what, his intentions will always be selfishly motivated and vindictive.
And now telling the general public this story as well to further paint that person as the enemy.
You say Ethan's painting his enemies, but you're the one with the paintbrush, and you're doing a pretty bad job painting enemies, probably because you're doing a paint by numbers and your highest number is 2.
Ethan also spoke about the financial aspect of the feud, saying Trisha gets all the security of getting that check, of promoting her shiz. He added that he's screwed because of all of the money that he had tied up in the Frenemies merch, which was set to be released that month.
For Trisha to just like walk out.
Let's take a look at something that seems to have been added in the edit. So did Madison edit after all? Let's read it. I personally have a hard time believing Ethan put all the money he made off a podcast into a merch drop from a clothing company his wife owns. What about investing into his employees/production? Weird. Why does she assume he hasn't?
Trisha responded with 3 separate videos. Part 1, Ethan's lies. Part 2, Ethan's lies. And can you guess the third video's title?
Part 3, Madison's lies. There's a lot of them. We're probably going to need a bunch more parts.
Part 3, Ethan's lies.
You don't have to actually say it. Your audience is intelligent enough to figure out what the part 3 is titled.
Totaling at around 2 hours and 34 minutes altogether.
Well, yeah, she does what you do. She says the same thing over and over again, but uses slightly different language, so it appears that she's talking about a lot more than she actually is.
Trisha maintained in both videos and subsequent tweets that she never asked for the crew to be fired.
Rule 1.
Trisha said that she only wanted an extra producer who could work exclusively on Frenemies.
That's because she's a liar changing her story.
To me, this sounds like a reasonable request to have someone who could be an advocate for Trisha on the Frenemies podcast.
Rule 1.
Ethan did end up selling the Frenemies merch, and it's been alleged that Trisha received a 50% cut.
Then she has nothing to whine about.
Well, Ethan ended his video saying that he didn't want to see Trisha canceled and that he regards her as family.
And here Madison tried to waste our time with a restatement of Trisha's claims over video of Trisha herself. No, we don't need that. We already heard it all.
Many people felt after Frenemies ended that Ethan was in the right in the situation. Trisha was now a full-blown enemy.
Yeah, Ethan Klein with his enemies. Keemstar, Trisha Paytas. Ugh.
Even though she went from dating to marrying Hila's brother, building a family, becoming in a literal sense a part of Ethan and Hila's family. They don't associate with one another any longer.
You know, you've been avoiding telling us much about Moses. Is there a reason for that? I mean, I can think of at least 5.
Since Trisha is seen as an enemy of Ethan's, over the years since the podcast ended, Ethan has frequently mentioned Trisha.
Yeah, but Ethan always talks about his family.
Sometimes to the support of his audience, but sometimes with his audience noting that he has a tendency to bring up Trisha in a bitter manner.
Bitter? Or frustrated because he still has to deal with her as a sister-in-law.
But at least initially, many thought that Ethan was in the right.
Are you about to prove that Trisha's not a psycho hose beast?
Though of course, there's always nuance to any situation.
It's always the black and white thinkers who whine about nuance and context.
The audience couldn't quite see the pattern yet of how often Ethan's friends turned into his enemies.
Who? He was never friends with Keemstar, and he was technically never even friends with Trisha.
And he would frequently pray for their downfall.
How would you know what a person prays for? I mean, you're not Jewish. You're not at synagogue with him.
Well, it was easy for Ethan and the general public to deflect blame onto Trisha and call her crazy for the downfall, for the fallout of Frenemies.
But it isn't solely Trisha's fault. There wouldn't have been a Frenemies show without Ethan, so he's responsible for his own misery. You should really be into that.
Well, at this point, it's clear that Ethan is the one to blame for the ways that his friendships and business relationships will often completely blow up in his face.
No, it's not. And you can't make it so just by saying it. You're not Picard.
Wow, Ethan. Great move. Keep it up. Proud of you.
I can't afford to be sued by Ryan Kavanaugh, so we're skipping this bit. So that's what all the title cards have been doing. And to me, that says iDubbbz, but I may be wrong. So maybe you guys can tell me what that's about.
Since the H3 podcast discussed various trending topics, Ethan and his team regularly dipped their toes into politics.
You said the podcast was about having famous friends on and picking on other people. Have you changed your mind, or did you forget you said that?
Ethan even invited political figures like Andrew Yang onto the podcast to experiment with having more serious guests on.
Nah, screw that guy. He ain't serious.
After Frenemies ended, Ethan incorporated more talking points revolving around politics.
Is that how you're going to make it kosher? I mean, Andrew Yang was on the podcast twice before Frenemies even became a thing, so...
Including in engaging in a debate with conservative political commentator Steven Crowder.
I don't want to make it too easy for you, so I've prepared.
Ooh, is this the one with the jump scare of Sam Cedar?
Oh no, Sam Cedar! What a fucking nightmare!
Thank you, Madison. Now I've seen it, and I didn't have to listen to Crowder or Cedar. I can only handle Sam Cedar's voice when he's playing his obnoxious loser Bob's Burgers character.
Around this time, Ethan also formed The Leftovers with Hasanabi, one of the most watched political streamers in the world.
Unfortunately, she's correct about that.
Although Hassan began streaming in 2018, Hassan saw a surge in popularity during 2020. By 2021, Hassan was one of the most watched streamers on Twitch, averaging tens of thousands of viewers daily.
One thing Madison has successfully proved to me is that Ethan Klein has had very questionable judgment when it comes to choosing people to host podcasts with.
Hassan and Ethan's audiences seemed receptive to one another, enjoying their chemistry while diving into serious topics.
Welcome, everybody, to The Leftovers. The wait is over.
So from personal experience, my first episode of the H3 podcast was an episode of Leftovers. And I don't regret that it's gone. Does that tell you something?
While working with Hassan, Ethan continued debating various controversial figures. But because he just entered the debate space, Ethan seemed to choose easy opponents.
Yeah, but you've just presented everything out of order. The order goes Andrew Yang, Leftovers, Steven Crowder, XQC. I think I might have to break out one of the Doctor Who action figures from their packaging.
Like Just Pearly Things, a political commentator and self-described anti-feminist.
I think women are happier when we have, a family and kids over a career in the long run.
Pearl's like Madison. She can only speak from her own experience, and since she's miserable, every other woman in her position must be too.
And Ollie London, a British man who underwent several cosmetic surgeries to resemble a South Korean boy band member.
With the way you used the word member before, you basically just said he's trying to look like someone's penis.
No, look, I just don't think kids should be anywhere that is putting ideas into their head.
He does kind of look like a dick. And he doesn't believe in school.
Hassan regularly watched Ethan's debates on livestream, actively supporting his friend at the time, while occasionally texting him talking points.
Don't worry, they were crowdsourced talking points.
Ethan's confidence skyrocketed, but his ignorance sometimes occasionally shined through.
Well, that's nothing compared to you. Your ignorance is on full display nearly constantly. Like, for instance, you don't know that the past tense of shine is shown.
While debating more complex topics.
In a social democracy that's run ideally, the homeless and whoever else needs a home for whatever reason would be provided one. So I don't understand what socialism does better in that case.
Madison, that's a debate question. That's not him expressing ignorance about socialism. Hassan's job is to explain how socialism solves that problem.
Ethan and Hassan worked closely together, despite having some different stances on major issues. A huge point of conflict, for example, was the conflict between Israel and Palestine.
Why? Because Ethan believes in a two-state solution and Hassan wants to destroy the country of Israel?
Ethan is an Israeli-American.
No, he's not. He's an American-Israeli. There is a difference.
Often in Ethan's early content, he seemed very conflicted about the conflict.
You need a bigger vocabulary.
Ethan spoke about family and friends residing in Israel.
When you come out and say free Palestine.
You know that's not Ethan, right?
Free Palestine too, right? It's just the timing.
There's no cognitive dissonance here, you stupid editor. October 7th, 2023 was the most violent and deadly attack on Jews since the Holocaust. It really fucked people up. I know. Think of it as an Israeli 9/11.
Hassan is a Turkish American and a strong voice of support for those often not given a voice in the Middle East.
But the Houthis, Hezbollah, Hamas, they already have ways of communicating to the world. They don't need Hassan as a middleman.
Hamas is a Muslim Brotherhood fundamentalist cutout.
Now that's what he's really doing. What he's doing is making these groups not only palatable, but worthy of support from Americans.
When you have a large platform and when you interact with too many voices online, a following of quote unquote yes men or yes people may degrade your mental health over time.
And monkeys might fly out of my butt.
No, that's not what may happen. What does happen is that you become audience captured. And that leads you to become more and more radical with your statements and ideals and less palatable to the general public.
While the two of them shared a podcast, there was no way of knowing that the situation would escalate across the world into what it is today.
No way of knowing? You started this video with several ways of knowing.
Well, at least for those who weren't extensively educated on the conflict.
You don't need to be extensively educated. You should know, as an adult in a Western country, that Israel and its surrounding Muslim neighbors have been at odds since its inception.
Settlements, and the ways in which Israel was systematically encroaching on Palestinian land. Again, I highly recommend the Throughline podcast that I spoke of earlier in this video.
So you do remember what was in your script.
On October 7th, 2023, Hamas and allied Palestinian militant groups launched an attack against Israel. Thousands of rockets were fired from Gaza into Israeli towns and military sites.
She doesn't know about the parachuters, the music festival, and the arson, rape, and murder?
The Nova Music Festival was the scene of the largest massacre, with over 360 festival goers killed and 44 taken hostage.
This is undoubtedly where this video could probably become extensively divided and controversial.
What Madison doesn't realize is that her editors did include information about that music festival. Let's see if she figures it out.
As many people have widely different algorithms online, or even know different people who are directly affected by this conflict.
Different people have different life experiences. Good job, sweetie.
Which makes everything very personal and causes them to view everything from a personal but deeply divided lens.
That's, for example, why all of your videos suck, because you only see the world through your own personal lens, and it's a super narrow lens, and I think it's a fisheye too.
It's a huge reason why I always felt very hesitant to speak in depth about the situation.
Don't worry, you still haven't.
For personal reference, my brother passed away on October 3rd of 2023. So when all of this took place, I was in mourning over a very personal situation and wasn't fully there mentally.
Madison, nobody has any expectations that you know anything about international conflicts.
Anyways, my understanding is that Jewish individuals have dealt with anti-Semitism their whole life.
Do you mean the Jewish people as a whole? In which case, we wouldn't be talking about one lifetime, but a couple thousand years at least.
They're aware of the Holocaust.
They're aware of the Holocaust.
And many other instances where groups of people have tried to completely wipe them off the map entirely.
Yeah, I can even name a specific person who wants to do that. He's called Hassan Piker.
They've wanted to defend themselves, come together with some sort of way to protect themselves so that doesn't happen again. Now, when something happens that feels like a situation that threatens their people, well, it's traumatizing for that very reason.
Then why am I so sure that you're about to negate any trauma Ethan and Gila have expressed over this? I'm so positive. I wonder why.
I think in many ways...
Lies. Oh, lies!
You don't think in many ways. You barely think in one way.
I can empathize with that history of pain and hurt, though I don't think that it justifies inflicting a similar pain and hurt onto another group of people.
You're saying that Israel is violent toward other countries because of Holocaust trauma, which apparently some Jews are aware of.
Many Jewish individuals have long advocated for a two-state solution.
That's not these guys. This is a group of Orthodox Jews who believe that Israel should never have been formed.
I don't want to discount the fact that Hamas is a terrorist organization in this video either.
You said it was one of those underrepresented Middle Eastern groups that relies on Hassan to tell the world about them.
Ethan initially addressed the situation with Hila during an episode of the H3 podcast. The clients shared their concerns for their loved ones back in Israel before expressing frustration with people spamming Free Palestine on social media.
That's a mischaracterization. Both Ethan and Hila believe in a Free Palestine. What they object to is the anti-Semitism that went hand in hand with many of those pronouncements.
Now, I'm Free Palestine. You can say Free Palestine. But the timing to me made me uncomfortable. It seemed like they were cheering on Hamas.
And it turns out he was right, because the Free Palestine movement quickly became the pro-Hamas movement. Hassan's been doing a great job as their unofficial American spokesperson.
But why were people saying Free Palestine?
There are a multitude of reasons. I don't have time to list them here. We're already at 100 minutes.
While there are many sites online that will tell you that the phrase Free Palestine is a rallying cry for the elimination of Israel.
Many? You've just shown me one.
To many using that hashtag on social media, they're intending to speak about the predominant number of Palestinian civilians, children, women, families who are dying due to the conflict taking place, and the ways in which a land has been taken through practices such as settlements and illegal raids.
Stop trying to push the Gila Klein's violent line. Land isn't taken in illegal raids. That's not one of the ways that land has been taken.
They're intending to advocate and be a voice for people who they feel have been given little power and no voice for themselves.
And to Jews, suddenly seeing Free Palestine everywhere is a scary thing, because it goes hand in hand with a lot of anti-Semitism, whether the people who are saying Free Palestine realize that or not.
Ethan rubbed people the wrong way on a follow-up episode of the H3 podcast when he called out a Muslim woman named Frogan who had close ties to Hassan and supported Palestine.
This girl, Frogan.
Me and Lena are friends with her.
I didn't like the tweet she was making. I thought they were like leaning too much towards pro-Hamas, but like she got to turn it into this whole big thing.
She called it a revolution. But you won't fool the children of the revolution. So I guess it couldn't have been a revolution after all. Because Frogan's a fool.
Ethan victimized himself for a woman tweeting when thousands were dying.
No, you binary thinker. Multiple things can be happening at the same time. My God.
And the podcast went, ironically, further off the rails. During a follow-up episode on The Leftovers, the camaraderie between Ethan and Hassan took a bitter turn.
That's gonna happen when you have a guy like Hassan who says sexual violence didn't happen because there's no proof of it, because in Judaism, you don't touch the bodies after death. You don't preserve them or anything. You wrap them up and you bury them. And because of that, Hassan didn't get the forensics he needed to realize that, yeah, Hamas has rapists too.
While discussing the subject, the clients defended Israel, failing to see how the ways in which Israel was set up could have continually threatened the peace of others in the area.
Oh goody, we've reached the blatant lies section.
Ethan and Ela mentioned how Israelis felt threatened their whole lives living in Israel, but refused to see how others in neighboring countries may have felt the exact same way from Israel as well.
Vast majority of people in Israel see that as a side.
After this live stream, the Leftovers podcast and the relationship between Ethan and Hassan quickly deteriorated.
Wow, that's so weird. It's like she doesn't know about Hassan's audience spamming Ethan with anti-Semitic comments throughout the whole thing, and Hassan throwing up his hands saying, I don't have control, when he has perfect control over the whole thing. He just wants the anti-Semitism in his chat.
Though honestly, to many, it seemed confusing why the Leftovers podcast started in the first place. Ethan wasn't very versed in politics, and often when diving into the specifics of the political discourse and diaspora, his knowledge fell completely flat.
Yeah, but did it fall as flat as a bottled blonde who thinks that the word diaspora only refers to the Jewish people, and that there aren't other diasporas of other ethnic groups?
That's fine maybe if you're just a podcaster who hasn't made a platform off of discussing these things.
You mean like Hassan Piker? The guy who doesn't care about what's going on in the Sudan? Yes, I clipped that part. We don't need it. We already know he's an asshole who's racist.
But when you create an entire podcast off of it and base your platform off of being left-leaning, your viewers begin to expect you to know what you're talking about.
Which is why it can actually be funny watching the show and watching Hassan try to answer Ethan's discussion questions.
And to align with what you're putting out there completely. Knowing what we know about Ethan's past, this podcast doesn't align with everything Ethan once stood for.
All right. We're opening it.
And he didn't have expertise in it. While Ethan and many on the left often critique those on the right for being political grifters, creating content that they don't fully believe in to simply profit off of what the left essentially believed to be a global audience, well, it seems from all the evidence presented that Ethan was doing the exact same thing.
What about Hassan? Why are you leaving Hassan out of this? He's still doing it.
He's made many conflicting and hypocritical comments.
Hypocritical.
Whether on his political views, views on women, the world, which may mean Ethan stands for nothing, except for what can stand for Ethan.
Well, anything may be. May it be an evening star shines down upon you.
Rules for thee, but not for me.
That doesn't make any sense here. Did you just throw it in because you forgot to say it last time and you feel like you need it once per section?
The problem is he continued speaking on politics, even though more and more his audience hated what he was saying.
Good news, everyone!
I was here for this bit, so I already know that's a mischaracterization without having to look anything up.
Ethan is also the one who doesn't know the difference between a socialist Democrat and a democratic socialist.
Okay, I had to keep that bit in because it's hilarious. And painful.
Good news, everyone!
I cut the whole section. I don't feel like offending my own audience. I think I've given Madison more than enough leeway to already have expressed her opinion on these things that she doesn't understand.
On January 30th, 2023, a clip exposing popular Twitch streamer Atrioc quickly spread across the internet. In the clip, Atrioc inadvertently showed a browser window.
Wow, we're still circling the same time frame. Maybe I didn't need the 13th Doctor and her dildo-shaped sonic screwdriver. Don't give me that look. You're the one who made it.
The window showed that Atrioc was viewing images on the account of someone who specialized in making deepfakes of popular female streamers. Viewers of the stream noticed the leak and screenshotted the site, then shared the site, images from it, and names of the women who were deepfaked.
That's awful. I do not believe in using AI technology to create pornographic content. In fact, I don't agree with using AI technology to create regular content, but it seems to be happening, just not very well.
Deepfaking websites make it easy for anyone to create highly realistic but fake content. This has a range of implications, from spreading misinformation to damaging someone's reputation with fabricated content.
And you're already giving us too much information about something that is only a piece of the controversy that you're trying to introduce us to.
Cutie Cinderella was one of the women who was deepfaked, and she responded to the situation on Twitter or X.
This doesn't belong here.
Hours after Atrioc's apology, Cutie Cinderella went live on her Twitch channel. She addressed the situation, opening up about the negative emotional impact the site was taking on her mental health, before vowing to sue the founder of the deepfake website. Ethan reacted to Cutie's statement about the website during an episode of the HD podcast.
Wait, what? Oh my god, I thought she was a guest and they brought it up to her. He was just reacting to her video?
What is going on with you?
Sorry, don't mind me.
If you are able to look at women who are not selling themselves or benefiting off of being seen sexually.
You're a monster, dude.
You guys are crazy.
Why did you do that?
I'm just speechless, dude.
Yeah, I would be doing what Ethan and Olivia were doing. I wouldn't be able to help myself from laughing, and because it's so inappropriate, I would try to hide my face.
Like, obviously, there's something a little bit off about me, right?
Which is what makes you a great entertainer. There's something off about all of us. For me right now, it's my shoes, because I'm totally not taped to the floor.
Because I always find myself in these situations where I am doing and saying impulsive things that I regret.
Ethan wrapped up his apology by offering to get Cutie in contact with his own legal counsel.
Was that one of the reasons Dr. Kirk Honda gave him an A?
If she needs resources, I would love to donate, even if she's open to that, to fund this kind of thing. I strongly believe that this whole deepfake thing is like super insane.
Wow. That's the most I've ever heard someone apologize for making a joke, and I'm pretty sure that a lot of it's been cut from this video.
Cutie's controversy doesn't have much to do with Ethan Klein because, of course, Ethan Klein wasn't involved.
Yep, I cut a whole section about Cutie Cinderella.
But she said something very controversial, which Ethan Klein has also been known to do.
Excellent reasoning, Madison. Excellent.
This raises the question, does being online too much, having a group of yes men who are following you, or yes people, start to erode your reality testing?
No, it really doesn't. Cutie's controversy was that she wouldn't cut off her family members. And people are like, you should do that. Because we're dark woke now, and we're assholes.
Maybe large social media followings can, at times, overall, be bad for someone's mental health.
After the incident with Cutie Cinderella, the crew purchased a button, which allows Ethan or the producer, Dan, to have the podcast live stream on a 30-second delay, so they can erase the last 30 seconds of footage from the live stream before it airs. The main goal of having this button is to prevent future YouTube content strikes or, predominantly, any further backlash.
Huh. I thought they got it because of the bomb thing and the Ben Shapiro comment.
But the question is, if your content is getting to the point where you need to purchase a button to delete the controversial things you say, should you maybe admit you have a problem?
He admitted he might have a problem in his apology video, and that's why they purchased the button, Madison.
Pause, take a breather, a mental health break, no?
Ye first, you lying coo!
Oh, okay. Instead, Ethan kept going, and his content spiraled further and further off the rails.
I already told you, you don't have to explain your jokes to us. You've used off the rails as a colloquialism 3 times now.
Wow, Ethan, great move. Keep it up.
Didn't we literally just cover this?
The button is a Ross Air Cleaner 2-brand kill switch that keeps the podcast live stream on a 30-second delay, allowing for the crew to erase the last 30 seconds of footage in real time.
We already know. When I finally take a look at your script, am I going to find out that these are out of order, or this was your original order? Because it's out of order! This whole courtroom's out of order!
And Ethan's claimed it's improved his ability to discern things that he should be careful saying.
You better not try to convince us that's a direct quote.
If you're curious what it looks like when the button is used, here's an example.
I watched the show. I think I've seen every button screen at this point. And you're only gonna include one, so skip.
iDubbbz has a decent explanation.
Impossible!
As to why the button, while Ethan has claimed has helped his content, could actually lead to more problematic content over time. Because you're actively going into a live stream with the mentality that if anything goes wrong, you'll be able to Control-Alt-Delete.
Yeah. A matter of seconds. You can't erase entire events with the button.
The answer you're looking for lies right here.
So you're not actively thinking about the quality of your content or what you're saying.
But that describes iDubbbz content. And frankly, yours too.
Over time, your content becomes an emotional dumping ground.
I think if all of us had buttons, we'd hit the button all the time.
You, helium voice. Anyways, by now, I think I've seen enough of Ian's live streams to make the determination that he uses his live streams as an emotional dumping ground and treats his chat like a therapist.
Proud of you.
When Ethan had his fallout with Trisha Paytas, for the most part initially, the internet was on his side.
It's for the most part and initially because Madison doesn't know if what she's saying is true or false, so she has to hedge everything.
But when Ethan had his fallout with Hassan Piker, things were different. Hassan retained his fan base and even some of Ethan's fans because they shared much of their audience. So when the podcast split, some audience members likely left one viewership for another.
Likely. So you're making a Big assumption, and it's probably not true.
Many people disagreed either with Ethan's stances or how he handled leaving the podcast.
But Hassan can do no wrong.
Ethan hadn't dealt with so much of his audience base disagreeing with him before. Instead of taking in the feedback, as harsh as it may have been at the time, and as hard as that can be when a large amount of people are telling you that you're wrong, well, his ego, mind, body decided to fully reject that feedback.
Are you calling anti-Semitic attacks feedback? Because racism isn't feedback.
He's not wrong. Instead, Hassan must be in the wrong. And he was going to do anything in his power to prove it.
Hassan is wrong. He wants the country of Israel to be dissolved. He doesn't think it should exist anymore.
Like when Ethan played the Twitch or Terrorist, featuring Hassan next to an image of Bin Laden.
Are you claiming that Ethan made the website? That's what it sounds like you're claiming.
This site that Ethan was on was allegedly created by Destiny.
Okay, so Ethan used bad judgment, but he didn't create a website comparing Hassan Piker to Osama bin Laden.
Now, of course, I know Hassan Piker is an incredibly controversial figure. This video isn't to claim otherwise because this video isn't about Hassan Piker.
Then I guess it's a good thing I cut your tangent about his racism.
Instead, I want to document how unhealthy Ethan's obsession with Hassan was becoming.
Was Ethan developing a growing obsession with Hassan, or was he noticing, as a Jewish man in America, that Hassan Piker and his following were becoming more and more dangerously anti-Semitic in their words and deeds?
And how it could have potentially been destroying his mental health. I personally have learned over time, through the course of my life, if someone is truly a bad person, they are going to get in their own way.
Well, then you shouldn't have made this video or any of your other videos, because bad people always get in their own way, right? What's the point of you doing any content creation?
You don't need to obsess over them or ruin their life for them. They're going to do it in their own time. And by you obsessing over them, watching them constantly, the only person whose life you're going to destroy is your own.
Are you trying to get me to stop reacting to your videos?
All of a sudden, Ethan was posting about Hassan Piker every day, which Hassan Piker was informed while streaming.
Really? Hassan was informed of it? He didn't already have a dozen Twitter tabs open on his desktop?
And the content made regarding Hassan became more and more petty and random.
Oh, he changed his background.
Why does Hassan have a white nationalist haircut?
After some time passed and things had only gotten worse and worse, Hassan and Ethan finally both agreed to debate. They went from having a podcast together to being on totally opposite sides.
Working with someone doesn't mean you share all of the same beliefs and values, you know?
During this debate, Hassan and Ethan continued to fight over stances surrounding the Israel-Palestine conflict.
I know. I watched it. And if you want to watch it, head to the H3 podcast channel.
Another aspect of this debate was Hassan bringing up Ethan's obsession towards him, posting about him numerous times a day.
And this is where you show us examples of those tweets.
Ethan felt Hassan fed into his own harassment online through often reading from a snark page on his own platform.
That's right, folks. She's gonna go there. She's gonna argue that H3 snark is a credible source of unbiased information.
Someone who comes into play around this time in Ethan's online career is the controversial streamer Destiny.
Now you're going to explain who he is? Who put this together?
A liberal streamer who advocates for social democratic policies and aligns more with Ethan's beliefs.
Really? Destiny and Ethan Klein have many similar positions, and not Destiny and Hassan Piker, former acolyte?
Yet has been essentially fully deplatformed online on various social media platforms.
And this is where I cut her rant on Destiny, which really has no business being in this video.
And Destiny and Ethan had seemingly formed a friendship in recent years.
Including the word seemingly doesn't make your statement any less of an absolute blatant lie.
Notably bonding over their mutual hatred towards Hassan Piker.
Of Hassan Piker. And they've never even had a conversation.
There's even a Reddit post that shows
absolutely nothing. Reddit isn't a credible source of information. How many times do I have to say this before she'll believe me?
Yet, the debate didn't quell Ethan's obsession with Hassan, which continued on. Even on normal podcasts, when his crew was chatting about things that brought them joy when Ethan was in the bathroom, he came back and immediately launched into a tirade about Hassan.
When do you think this debate happened? Because you're going back in time again!
He starts to watch old Leftovers podcasts and makes fun of Hassan, agreeing with him in an episode and saying,
You didn't watch the episode because you're not describing the episode accurately. Somebody told you what was in the episode and you believed them.
Ethan even went as far as to claim Hassan was essentially a date rapist.
When did that happen?
Which is a very serious claim that should be taken extremely seriously, not thrown around on the internet all silly like.
Then why does this video exist? It's a comedy. And yes, this talking point was taken from an out of context clip. Wow. Amazing how that keeps happening.
Recently, Hassan Piker was embroiled in one of the largest controversies to date in his career, surrounding his dog Kaya and what many deemed to be Hassan's unfair treatment of her on his stream, due to the perceived use of a shock collar.
Yeah, I perceived it myself. I saw it and heard it multiple times. And I also saw and heard him try and bullshit his way out of it with the adulterated shock collar itself. Have you figured out what adulterated means yet?
Because of Ethan and his followers' crusade essentially against Hassan, the H3 subreddit was one of the first to post about the situation.
But that's not the H3H3 subreddit. That's the Snark subreddit, where all of your Reddit examples have come from. Are you admitting now that you didn't know that these came from a biased source and you thought they came from fans of the show?
And continually post about the situation multiple times through the course of a singular day. In fact, I kind of feel like I was one of the first to find out about the shock collar situation because I was researching for this video.
Well, now that means you've been consciously lying to us.
As the news broke and happened to be scrolling on the H3 podcast subreddit the moment that the shock collar news was posted.
Oh my God, Madison, that's not the H3 subreddit. Do you think she really doesn't know the difference?
Ethan also immediately took to social media to state his moral stance.
A lot of people did. It was really abhorrent what we saw Hassan do, and then what he did afterwards, trying to lie about it multiple times, and now he's just given up.
His fans, who had seen Hassan as essentially an online villain and an enemy against Ethan ever since the Leftovers divide, had felt almost vindicated after this news had surfaced as well.
No, I didn't. I was thinking of ways to get Hassan's dog away from him legally.
Hassan Piker himself claims that the clip, though it really looks like the dog was shocked and that Hassan was messing with something off camera, was not as it appeared.
As a lolcow, Hassan shares the same Rule 1. Rule 1, Hassan lies.
And that Kaya the dog simply got her foot caught on the bed and yelped.
Thanks for communicating with your facial expression that you don't believe him.
And also, shock collars aren't always that bad.
Wow, Madison, that almost looks like compassion. How come you can't show that for human beings?
Of course, we aren't all privy to Kaya's diet and exercise routine or her specific health needs, but this is a bit besides the point of what I'm wanting to say here.
This is all beside the point. This is a tangent. Your video's supposed to be about Ethan Klein, not Ethan Klein's former co-host who abuses animals. And don't think we don't notice that you're not making eye contact with the camera lens.
My own point is, Ethan and his fans focus on their enemies and their deep want to prove their enemies wrong.
You made me watch animal abuse content to prove a point about someone who isn't the animal abuser?
And the question is that mentally healthy? Or is it causing Ethan to be mentally unwell?
That's not the question.
What is the question?
To have such a deep focus on the downfall of his enemies.
That's not the question either.
Is that ultimately the very thing that caused Ethan's own downfall?
Okay. What about this? What if there was an Ethan Klein downfall, but it's been erased from time and only Madison remembers?
This obsession Ethan has surrounding his enemies could be described as rumination.
Why'd you have to say that?
And holding a grudge. According to research, excessive rumination can negatively impact health, both mental and physical.
Are you trying to prove that Ethan Klein has lost his mind?
In many of Ethan's streams, he began to say things like he was struggling to make friends, that he was encountering people who were pathological liars or shysters.
See what I mean? It's like she's from an alternate timeline or reality.
Seemingly representing a larger pattern of paranoia Ethan was exhibiting. Everyone is against him. Everyone is wrong, and he's the only one who's right.
Don't get so excited about it. Jeez, that's a bad look.
And yet, that isn't how you build an audience of supporters, but how you slowly drain them, and how you blow up your entire platform, or nuke it.
Yeah, that content nuke really ruined Ethan's career, all right.
Keep it up. Proud of you.
Due to Ethan's obsession with Hassan Piker, he posted a video titled Content Nuke Hassan Piker, seemingly to bait Hassan into reacting to the content so that he could sue Hassan for copyright infringement.
Well, it might seem that way to you, Madison. He actually asked Hassan to react to it on stream, which means he gave him permission to use it.
But Hassan did not fully react to the content.
Well, I don't think he should have to watch it. I do think it's very funny that he tried to avoid it for a really long time, and when he finally did watch it, he needed a lot of friends holding his hand, and he didn't even finish it.
Instead, 3 other content creators, Frogan, Casey Tron, and Denims, created content surrounding the content nuke.
They didn't create content around it. They told their audiences to watch it with them on their streams in order to not give Ethan Klein money.
There were a few people that went above and beyond to commit copyright infringement. Denim sits here silently with nearly 50,000 live viewers. She's working directly with the Snark subreddit moderators to siphon views.
You know, I'm starting to get an idea of who may be behind making this video.
Because of this, Ethan uploaded a video claiming to be the mastermind all along, who's now planning to sue these content creators for copyright infringement.
These time warps are driving me insane. They're not even the good kind of time warps.
This is a blatant 180 from the Ethan of the past, who fought for creator rights and for fair use.
The argument is that they're not fair use because their reactions did not significantly transform the material. You know, like I am here.
Additionally, the content nuke attempts to get further revenge on Frogan.
No. We are not doing this here. Thank you. I already know Ethan used an image from Google Images without verifying it by tracing it back to its source. But the image wasn't part of his script, just like all of the images here aren't parts of your script, because you don't seem to know that they're here.
Something did switch. Ethan went from being an advocate for fair use to suing other creators over copyright infringement and creating essentially a content trap so he'd be able to do so.
Well, it's very good to know that you're one of the people against such practices, like, for example, cops leaving unlocked cars in poor neighborhoods.
Everything changed, and one of Ethan's longest friends on the platform came out against Ethan as well.
Sorry, the allusion to iDubbbz just brought out the great cornholio in me.
Throughout a large portion of Ethan's career, one of his closest friends was the content creator iDubbbz. Yet recently, due to their differences in opinions,
they had differing views on the definition of the word friendship.
iDubbbz released a content expose on Ethan under his infamous format titled Content Cop.
Hey, didn't he retire that format when he made his apology about his content being bullying people and explained that he was more empathetic now and wouldn't be doing that anymore?
The thing is, iDubbbz has also lost a big portion of his original fanbase, and a similar style to Ethan, the two being mirrors of each other.
Poor iDubbbz. He's screwed. If this is Madison's point of view, it's Snark's point of view, which means it's Hassan's point of view, which means he's never going to respect Ian.
iDubbbz was known for being an edgy content creator who garnered a certain fan base because of that.
You guys, she used the word garner almost completely correctly.
To come out with a content cop that went against much of those original content styles,
that sentence doesn't make any sense.
And platformed many creators that his original fanbase disagreed with, meant his video received a ton of dislikes.
No, the video received a ton of dislikes because it was crap.
Content creators like Keemstar, Destiny, and XQC all took to their respective platforms to defend Ethan Klein after the content cop, which is very different from their interactions of the past when it comes to Ethan Klein.
So now you're saying he was never friends with Destiny?
Oh, hell no! Brother, oh nah. Bro, content cop, and he picks the people that are the most content copable of all time.
With XQC, I figure that if I can understand what he's actually saying, it must be worth hearing.
Ethan also defended himself.
Of course he did. This video isn't about a guy who just rolls over and takes shit.
To be fair, I definitely think iDubbbz's approach, claiming to be a concerned friend who recently learned the concept of empathy while dancing around in a goofy way and sort of teasing Ethan Klein, it definitely sends mixed messaging.
You haven't watched the content cop either? Okay, really, one of the reasons I'm surprised is because I figure for Madison, it's a lot easier to sit and watch a video than to read.
Ethan was clearly hurt by Ian, iDubbbz, making this video. He continued to make content about Ian, iDubbbz, and his wife Anissa, like in one uncomfortable clip where he thinks it's worth flexing on them.
Ian and Anissa, they love watching my pocket.
But that clip isn't straight from the H3 podcast. It had a TikTok title and added subtitles. Why are you lying to us about where that clip came from?
Ethan has also made a lot of comments about Ian's wife, Anissa.
So how many is a lot? Is it more or less than the number of comments Anissa's made about Ethan?
Who, it at least appears publicly, doesn't seem to be doing anything particular to provoke Ethan. To be making such regular commentary on her, besides just strongly disagreeing with him.
You're admitting you didn't do your own research. Even reading one of Anissa's tweets is enough to understand that she's very public about all of her criticisms.
But it's clear that what Ethan disliked most of all about Ian's content cop was him associating with content creators who Ethan saw as the main reason for a hate campaign against him.
Well, I'm not going to disagree with that. I'm going to say the thing that was most offensive was how shitty the video was. It really just sucked. And that hurts more than anything. If somebody is going to take you down, you want them to do it well. So look, you're disappointing Ethan right now too.
Who he thought were out to get him, and even behind CPS being called on his family and children, which we will get to.
I don't think I disagree with him.
The thing is, throughout Ethan's career, there have always been an enemy out to get him.
Really? There have always been an enemy out to get him?
And an audience of yes people to validate his beliefs. But what happens when Ethan's enemies are small and powerless in comparison to him? Wouldn't that essentially make him the villain?
You didn't even talk about the lawsuits.
Ethan, great move. Keep it up. up.
Yeah, we're not doing this. Ethan's housekeeper isn't a public figure.
Ethan defends his nanny in this post, but in the past, he's made fun of their nanny for wanting to go back home during a California wildfire to check on her family.
Oh no, Madison ran into the event horizon of comedy.
We had like a babysitter who was with Theodore.
How do you get this so wrong? Unless somebody gave it to you. If you had watched the video yourself, you would know that he was talking about a different person in this excerpt.
Ethan continued to spiral further downwards. People couldn't help but notice his appearance slowly changing too, maybe somewhat mirroring his inner mental state.
Yeah, let's use a picture from right after a subathon where he both had to shave his eyebrows and dye his hair jet black.
To many fans, Ethan and H3 began to represent the very thing they used to be against.
You only speak in what people are against of. You never speak of what they're for.
The enemies he used to stand against. Some of Ethan's behavior began to seem more and more erratic, his statements harsher, bizarre, and more extreme.
I thought the repetitions were just in her sentences, but it's in her segments too.
The top comments on his videos weren't necessarily more and more negative, just more and more concerned.
Then why is your next clip of H3 snark posts and not comments under episodes?
Ethan yelling at his employees on stream.
You mean like this guy?
Speaker, what is it with you guys from the lab? First Bunsen and now you. What are you guys trying to do to us?
Hey, Kermit.
What is it?
Now you're shouting at yourself.
Okay, fine. I kept that bit of snark post in so I could use my Kermit joke. Can you blame me?
Ethan streamed an episode stating a child welfare visit was called in from people who worked at his house.
That's not what Ethan said, but it might be what you were told he said.
So let's talk about CPS being called on Ethan Klein, as stated in this mecha thread.
Is a mecha thread a type of Gundam? No, it's probably a kaiju. Nah, I'm joking. It's an H3 snark threat that I won't include in this video.
In March of 2025, Child Protective Services visited the Klein's home, and Ethan Klein claimed he received skulls in the mail, human skulls.
Those were two separate events. Are you trying to combine them so you don't have to give either the detail it actually deserves?
The situation began in early March when CPS arrived after an anonymous tip.
Yeah, but which Tribune?
Claimed his child was crawling around and eating dog feces. Ethan Klein claimed that this claim has come from streamers who had spread the rumor that Ethan Klein's children had contracted Giardia.
You're doing that thing again. Why do you keep saying Ethan Klein? It's not in the text you're apparently reading, so why are you saying it like that? It's really weird.
Then, around that time, the family received 2 unidentified human skulls, allegedly by mail, which prompted an FBI investigation. And of course, probably does not help with Ethan Klein's paranoia.
I know it's a joke, but Madison, it's not paranoia when they're really out to get you.
That people are out to get him, that he has enemies all around. We had a very pleasant interview with the FBI, Ethan Klein stated, adding that the situation had escalated beyond the usual bounds of online trolling and harassment.
Again, with the extra Klein. God, you're lucky his name isn't something longer, like Finkelstein or Lipschitz.
Of course, I want to empathize with Ethan Klein here.
Not really. You've decided he's not human, so you can't empathize with him no matter what.
That is probably a very scary situation to be in, especially when you have children, a family, and probably hasn't helped at all with Ethan Klein's mental state.
And reacting to 3 hours of your shit doesn't help my mental state, but here we are.
And the concerns surrounding that. Meanwhile, rumors of self-medication have continued, likely stemming from when Ethan was asking his employees on stream for their Adderall prescription.
Aw, snark. They don't understand comedy, so they take everything literally. Just like Madison, they are a match made in hell.
Ethan hasn't publicly confirmed or denied this, but his public request for controlled medication on the show invited lots of speculation. Ethan also, to lots of criticism, featured his children on the H3 podcast.
Why does that mean he's mentally unsound?
Ethan and Hila streamed an episode with their children from the studio.
The kids have been on multiple streams. I keep trying to explain to you, this is a family show. He has his parents on. Heck, remember his sister-in-law?
Which went back on their highly publicized promise to never make their kids into YouTube content.
How? Are they making videos with the kids and publishing them? Are they having the children on every episode of the podcast? Give me some evidence that they are exploiting their children online, please.
In 2023, Business Insider wrote an article about Ethan and Hila titled Why YouTube's Best Known Couple is Keeping Their Kids Offline.
I thought we covered this, Madison. It's not Insider, it's Business Insider, and it's been CC'd in the corner correctly before. So what's going on here?
Where Hila Klein told Insider the couple planned to keep their children offline.
Oops, you did it again. Mislabeled your source. So incompetent. Oh, baby.
Their audience often applauded them for their responsible choice in how they approached involving their children in their content, which was largely leaving them out of it.
And that's it. Do you think the kids are on like multiple episodes or are featured guests or something like that?
By 2025, it seems like that has suddenly changed. Bringing minors into such a highly visible and high-stress environment can be extremely unsafe.
Are they exploiting their children? Why are you creating hypothetical situations in order to create a more villainous character for, oh, well, that's why, yeah.
Especially when an ongoing CPS investigation is happening.
Where is your evidence that they were doing dangerous or exploitative things with their children at any time?
Well, it seems that the subreddit has remained fairly empathetic.
Which subreddit? Because there are two that you keep confusing with each other, which is one of the reasons I think you haven't looked at either yourself and somebody gave you a bunch of shit to look at.
Ethan's been convinced that they're essentially a hate page out to get him, feeding once again further and further into the ideas of me versus the world.
You remember that thing I said about how it's not paranoia if they're really out to get you? Who gave you the material for your investigation, Madison?
Rumination and paranoia. And it's justified Ethan's threats to dox the H3 subreddit.
And there it is. At this point, I don't think there's an individual who can convince me that the H3 snark moderators did not orchestrate this video as a type of public self-defense.
Ethan Klein, champion of free speech.
Look, lies about sourcing again.
Dox the users and moderators of the H3 snark subreddit.
But he's not doing that. It's an absolute lie. It's a lie that they're spreading so that they can gain public support.
There's also a subreddit called Faomoy.
Oh, I think that's my favorite one yet, especially because I resent them using Barbie imagery for their header.
I hope I'm saying that right.
I hear hope floats, like scum on the water.
Which I hadn't heard of since this video, to be honest.
I think she means she hadn't heard about faux moi before she worked on this video. I'm pretty sure that's what she means.
That Ethan literally calls a Nazi forum.
Is it? Even through your lens, Ethan Klein has more credibility than you do.
Even though it seems to be a tea or drama subreddit. And this is where it seems the mental health state of Ethan Klein is highlighted, as everyone is out to get him in the most extreme and hateful ways in the mind of Ethan Klein.
Well, then I must be a figment of his imagination too.
Yet Ethan has once again been accused of being a hypocrite.
Did you mean yet again Ethan has been accused of being a hypocrite?
Because while he'll publicly go on tirades accusing accounts of being anti-Semitic or simply for being against him.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't go on tirades about accounts being against him, therefore being anti-Semitic or neo-Nazis. He just doesn't do it. This doesn't happen.
His top 5 Spotify was Kanye West, and he didn't see a single issue or contradiction about that.
How is Kanye West all top 5? I had to cut the clip because it was helium voiced, but he said, "That's my list? Kanye West? That's embarrassing." I feel like that's an initial acknowledgement, and the video was cut off there, so I don't know what happened next, because I don't remember every episode of a podcast that airs 4 times a week.
Ethan Klein lives by one rule.
Is it rule 1? Madison lies?
Rules for thee, but not for me.
No, that's your epithet.
Ethan Klein then escalated the situation by going live on YouTube, where he launched into a tirade against multiple subreddits.
Ah, a call for allies.
Including Faomoy.
Honestly, I just wanted to hear her say that again.
In Ethan Klein's mind, he's being targeted in ways that internet influencers have never been targeted before. Just him.
You keep saying all these things are in Ethan Klein's mind, but you're the one talking about and describing them, and I've never heard him say any of the things that you're claiming. So isn't this all really inside Madison's mind?
Many people started wondering, how can anyone work in an environment with a boss like this?
To you, many is more than 2.
More and more former employees started to leave the H3 podcast.
More and more former employees leave the podcast.
As things started to spiral out of control, and Ethan seems incapable of listening to outside voices.
Well, not everything's the way it seems, and you should know, because with you, everything is seeming more and more every day.
Or blatantly argues with employees while live. If this is happening publicly, imagine what's happening behind the scenes.
What just happened? Are you okay? Were you kidnapped?
For example, Ethan argues with employees over political violence.
No, he doesn't.
Ethan argues with a Ukrainian employee who's in Canada over his comments that he made about Canada.
Oh no. Someone better tell Harley Morenstein.
Ethan argued with an employee named Olivia over a person's pronouns.
And it turned out that Ethan was right about the pronouns. Nothing else.
There was a time where it seemed like Ethan almost called his employee Nate a B word.
I remember this one. I remember this accusation because nobody could figure out what the B word was. Madison couldn't help because she didn't know which B word it was either. That part wasn't in her script.
During a podcast, when Ethan is calling a woman a B word, Ela suggests it's probably not a good idea for him to continually use that word, and he kind of shuts her down.
So, wait, does she think Ethan almost called Nate A bitch?
Hila then asks the H3 employees, Lena and Sam, their thoughts on the situation, essentially having these two women weigh in between their two bosses and whether they would find that word in the way that Ethan used it offensive.
Aren't you just telling us the story of why Ethan no longer says bitch? He respected his employee's position on the word.
When they agree with Hila, Ethan says he will bow to the council. Jeez.
Is there a condition called comedy blindness?
Ethan goes off on an employee Dan for saying that he killed the vibe.
Did somebody give you a list of these things to add to your script? Because you don't seem to know what's in the clips.
It seems like in this situation, Ethan kind of throws his employees into the line of fire, especially since Olivia had spoken about her past regarding SA and how that was a sensitive topic for her.
It seems like you still don't know what's in those clips. Don't worry, guys. The clips are useless. They don't actually say what she says they say.
Employee Sam left in the summer of 2024, which most people feel was right before things fully went off the rails.
Which most people? The most people at H3 Snark?
Employee Olivia took a mental health break from the podcast
and later quit because of videos like this, because of people like you.
After the incident surrounding the conversation about SA.
No, that's not at all why she... Wow.
She then officially left in September of this year.
This year being 2025, the year that people like Madison decided to harass the entire podcast crew.
Many people believe that Olivia officially quit the podcast due to Ethan's resurfaced Reddit account called Pedo Troll.
It's nice that they believe in something, but that doesn't make this true.
I feel so uncomfortable even showing some of these posts on screen. I don't even know what to do.
Don't include them. If they're too terrible for you to reread, then you shouldn't be exposing your audience to them either.
But I think what I'll do is just show screenshots of the posts, but heavily censor them.
And because I see the provenance and I'm more responsible than you are, we're not going to be looking at any more of these.
There was also a Twitter/X account with a similar name.
Yes, but who's admin Jake Chinatown?
It's also fairly believable that this was Ethan's account because this isn't the only time Ethan has spoken inappropriately regarding children.
James Gunn.
With racism added into his statements.
It took me a while to figure out that she was saying racism. Yes, I heard something else.
When all of this resurfaced, instead of denying that it was his account, Ethan immediately admitted to having been the person behind the account.
And why do you sound so pissed off about that? Oh, I know. James Gunn.
Keep it up. Proud of you.
And for many, the image that they had of Ethan, a justice vigilante for content creators, an advocate, a fun friend to hang out with in a podcast, had completely shattered.
How many? You keep saying many. You keep saying more and more, but you never give us a quantity. It's very frustrating.
With no chance of ever repairing.
Well, that's been proven untrue.
So where does Ethan go from here?
Please don't tell me you're about to get weirdly threatening.
Now that his image is shattered, he may try to do some endeavors offline.
His image isn't shattered, and he may try to do some endeavors offline is definitely Madison syntax.
Like when Ethan won an internet celebrity poker tournament against Tana Mojo.
Really? The internet celebrity poker tournament is an offline endeavor?
Though he apparently got kicked out of the announcer booth for being a brand liability.
Well, he can't be that much of a brand liability. They keep inviting him back to these celebrity tournaments.
Ethan has made an apology on TikTok, mainly for the ways in which he casually talked about everything taking place in Israel-Palestine.
That can't be right. He's never been casual about it. His family in Israel. It was very traumatic for them. October 7th, 2023. He's not going to joke about that shit.
Which many thought was too late. Essentially, the consensus of comments was his pockets must be hurting now.
By this point, I think the audience can figure it out. That's right. She's lying, even if she doesn't know she's lying, because the attached clip doesn't have that in it. And if you want to see Ethan's TikToks, go to TikTok.
Now, Ethan is still making content, searching for an audience who aligns with him, but no self-reflection seems to be being done.
Who wants alcohol poisoning? Rewatch this video and take a shot every time Madison says seems.
He may spiral further and further into his own isolated echo chamber until he does something that crosses such a major line that he's banned on YouTube.
You mean like publishing a 3-hour defamatory video on another content creator?
Employees are leaving left and right.
No, just left. They're the employees that left.
An empire is crumbling.
That's definitely a Madison sentence. I don't think H3 Snark or Leftovers H3 would call Ethan Klein's accomplishments an empire.
A legacy that was once so loved and so well regarded is left in shambles.
Yeah, that sounds like cruel world happy mind to me and the comments I get on my videos about you.
All because Ethan and Hila refuse to listen to outside voices. And now it may be too late. And that's all for today's video.
What do you mean that's all? This was 3 hours long. Oh, but you didn't know that because you don't know what went into the video other than the parts you recorded yourself.
Thank you so much for watching it, and I hope I was able to do this story justice.
No, this was a massive injustice. Your hope is scum floating on the top of a small pond that not even turtles shit in.
I hope I didn't outrage too many people.
And I've lost all hope. Not of offending people. I mean, I hope to still offend people. Not all the time, just sometimes.
And if you were a Fallen fan, a former fan, or a current H3 fan, and you made it all the way to the end,
Madison thanks you for the ad revenue.
Thank you so much. I hope that we can all find peace and love through this video.
Well, no, we can't, Madison. We can't all find peace and love through an attack video. The people you're attacking can't find the peace and love.
Because I feel like Ethan has currently lost that.
And this is gonna give it to him?
I hope that you're all doing well during this tumultuous time, and I'll see you in the next video.
No, you won't.
Stay well until then. Bye.
I can't give you the middle finger, but I'm imagining it at you so hard right now. For a comprehensive conclusion, I wanted to read and compare Madison's, quote, script, unquote, only to find that it was full of its own interesting idiosyncrasies. It's its own video. And if you're still with me at the end of this one, am I overreacting? Is this just another Cruel World shitty video, or was it prompted by persons unknown? I'd like to thank Barbie for helping me out with the racism, and all of you for waiting it out and watching this video. See you next time in a shorter video.
Hurry back, hurry back, we've been dying to have you.